Here, we're blasting off chat. But today I'm going to be learning the way of the samurai once again. Now, some of you might know that I already am a samurai. You might be thinking, Hassan, well, you're already a samurai. Like, what are you saying? You're already a samurai. And to them I say, you're right. Like, I have studied the blade, right? I have learned the blade. I've learned the way of Bushido, which is like the original boy love, for those of you who don't know. I already trained last time I was in Japan, and this time basically I'm a sensei, sharpening my katana. And also I might teach like the senseis there a thing or two. Like basically the thing that's happening is like they called me in, right? They called me in and were like, Hassan senpai, daijoubu desu. Like they basically said, like, we rely on the deep well of knowledge that you have as a person who is spiritually Japanese. You have carried on the torch of the ancient arts of kendo, bushido, like the way of samurai, right? And basically they were like, you are our last opportunity to make sure that the next generation of young Japanese men can also learn about the bushido. Like, it's a weird responsibility. It's a weird responsibility I have, because like on the one hand I get it. It's like, come on, like I get it. I'm like the last samurai, white savior vibes, whatever. Okay. But also on the other hand, like Japanese people basically like overcoming maybe even like historic xenophobia, right? Specifically because, this is a time honored tradition that must be carried on to the next generation. And I think it's because they had just like noticed how much respect I've offered and how Japanese I actually am, if you know what I mean. And that's why they were like, please come teach us how to be samurai. Yeah. So that's just, I mean, it's like, don't even bring it up. I don't even want to hear it. Like, for me personally, it's nothing. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's something that I would have done anyway. So they basically called me back in. They called me into battle. I'm going to teach him Aikido as well. Samurai stuff again, rehashing from last Japan stream. Yeah, if something is fucking dope, we're going to do it again, dummy. What's wrong with you? Yeah, and Austin's coming this time as well. So, yeah, I said yes. Yeah, I'm kind of like Steven Seagal, pretty much, but like Japanese, like actually Japanese. He's fake Asian. I'm real Asian. So let's get started on the news. All right. After all of that, very exciting stuff happening in the world. It is Monday for you guys. Tuesday for me, but it's Monday for you guys, so we might as well get to the news. Am I right? It's Monday News Day, baby. So let's do it. We've talked about this already for the past couple of days, but the stock market is now collapsing a little bit. Let's talk. As you guys know, DeepSeek was like, "Oh, you guys are doing some cool AI stuff out there." China basically looked at America's AI tech, which I think this kind of exposes the fraudulent nature of the American AI sector in its entirety. But after half of a decade of like American tech CEOs saying AI is, you have to give us like $7 gazillion and also change the laws so that like we can kill whatever Indonesian children we need to kill in the farms, in the electricity farms, as we melt the rainforest, and how AI is eventually going to kill all of us anyway. Oh my God, it's so powerful. I'm so scared of my own invention. Please give me endless money, please. Right? Like after American AI people basically just kept repeating over and over again how insane it is, right? How AI is dope, and how no one will ever be able to overcome this American dominance of AI. Virtually a day after, or 2 days after, basically, the $500 billion investment that Donald Trump signed off on, the Chinese government was like, hey, by the way, hey, just so you know, we had a bunch of engineers that on the side looked at all of the open AI stuff and made their version of it for like literally $1. Hey, cool AI. We made one. And also now it's free. So we're just totally undercutting the American paywalled strategy of trying to make AI that is paywalled. And also we're just going to show you it's open source. So like you can look at it. You can open up the hood, look at it, try to comprehend it, understand that it's like not super complicated. Yeah, here we made it for oh, you guys made it for $600 billion. Here we made it for $6 million. Also, in the process, the American government was like, wait a minute, how are you able to do this? You don't have the powerful chips. You don't have the microchip technology. It's illegal to export those things to you, which is the dumbest thing on the planet. In this global marketplace, America was like, no, we definitely have stopped the fucking Chinese government from being able to purchase like processors. How is that? Bro, you can buy a fucking new Bentley in Russia right now, okay? Like, I feel as though I think our American overlords, our American capitalist overlords, have designed an incredibly complex web that is interconnected, interwoven in many meaningful ways that we call global trade. And now they want to dominate that global trade by saying, no, 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 we're the guys who control it. No, 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 stop. Stop with this global trade, please. And they just can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And it's very funny. And I think it goes a little bit into the Dengus Gambit that I've talked about before, where once again, our adversaries are using our tools against us to dominate us in very meaningful ways, in spectacular fashion. Okay. And again, the Dengus Gambit only works if your enemy is a little white supremacist, maybe a little bit white supremacist, and operating on this like Orientalist notion that a Chinese peasant society would never be able to overcome being the hyper exploited slave labor manufacturing hub of the world. They would never be able to, in a matter of mere decades, become a domineering force on the global marketplace. Like that would never happen. They would never be able to make products that are competitive and if not better than the American versions because they're Chinese. They're stupid, right? Like that literally is the reason why I think American capital owners were like, yeah, sure, you can take our IP, make a cheap copy of it. Who cares? Like, whatever. And in that process, we will use our labor force as this super cheap manufacturing labor force while undercutting the American labor force in and of itself. Why does the physical stature of the white supremacist matter? Physical stature of the white supremacist? You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. You are misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Last week,
what I'm saying is, historically speaking, American capital owners have thought, well, we really, in their endless profit seeking, they've thought, oh, we can get away with just like using China as a manufacturing hub, and we can even give them our IP in the process, and never fear that they could ever make like a competitive product to the American engineered brilliant products that, fuck, hold on, I have to fix something here. There it is. That's the problem. Okay. Oops. God damn it. Fuck. Basically, American manufacturers never foresaw the Chinese manufacturing getting to a point of competition where they would dominate the American manufacturers. That's why they did not care. That's why they were like, yeah, you can have all of our info. You can have all of our tech and make cheap Chinese copies of it. When in fact, those cheap Chinese copies year over year got better and better. And now when people say like, "Oh, you're going to get the Chinese version of this, it's probably a cheaper copy." It's like, "No, in many instances the Chinese version is the better version now." Right? They make it for cheaper and oftentimes it's quite literally better, right? And it's a big deal. And what's happening with like DeepSeek, what's happening with the Chinese version of this AI is kind of similar to that as well. It works off of some of the, I guess, some of the training that OpenAI uh was also utilizing. And not only that, but also on top of that, they did it with these these chips that the American government had made it illegal for the Chinese to have. But of course, in this day and age, partially due to the, like I said, the complicated interconnected web of global trade. I think I'm misunderstanding because I just joined. I get why we would be upset with the American economy, but why are we grifting the CCP now? This is the first time I tuned in for a while. What the fuck happened to Hassan? Why are we grifting for the CCP? What the hell does this have to do with grifting for the CCP? I'm explaining to you what American capital has done to American dominance. I'm explaining to you the concept that is very simple, which is that endless greed and endless profit seeking is inevitably suicidal. And that endless greed and endless profit seeking paired up with white supremacy, assuming that the people that we're dominating around the globe will never be able to use our tools against us, can end up undermining American dominance. Not only am I describing this process, but I'm also telling you that I don't have a vested interest in American capitalist corporations dominating the marketplace in any capacity whatsoever. I want everything to be open source, especially things such as artificial intelligence. I want artificial intelligence also not to displace the existing American manufacturers and the existing American labor force or the existing labor force in its entirety. If this is too difficult of a concept to comprehend for you, and you're just going to go back to weird hyper nationalistic boundaries in this conversation, well, then I don't think you understand. I don't think you understand much of what I'm talking about. Endless profit seeking will always destroy the host nation that is engaging in it. Now, isn't DeepSeek going to be used for capitalist purpose? Why does it matter if it's better than Burgerland version of AI? So I'm going to get to that. Hold on. I think the funniest part about the DeepSeek stuff is not necessarily that they're making a version of the AI that is like even better than the American version or anything. Okay. I think people are misunderstanding what I'm saying. I think DeepSeek in many ways just kind of exposes the fraudulent nature of like the tech sector. Crazy thing is that it isn't even a CCP thing. It was just a CEO who started as a side project for fun and he only used $6 million and a team of 200 people. The CEO also said that the achievement and honor matter more to him than the team than money, which is why it's open source. Didn't you cover Lena Khan's work on this before? I think we briefly talked about it, but yeah. DeepSeek just proved Lena Khan right. The former FTC chair warned that enabling protectionism for tech monopolies wouldn't just hurt all of us, it would hurt them too. Now they're getting wiped out. By the way, they did it a second time. DeepSeek launches Janus Pro 7B open source multimodal AI which surpasses DALL-E 3 and Stable Diffusion in benchmarks. This is why the timeline has been on fire and people are losing their minds over it. If the American marketplace was already under the assumption that like the Chinese the Chinese government or Chinese corporations have the capacity to create competitive products, especially at a much lower price point, okay, this would not be as shocking. It would not have it would not, you would not experience market shocks in the way that you're currently experiencing them because you would have already hedged your bets against that sort of thing. As informed investors would look at this and go, of course that's the case. If our approach to AI was not dissimilar to the Chinese one, where the attitude was, well, this is supposed to be, especially in its infancy, something that should be given to the world, partially because it must be open source because of the necessary training, but also because like this isn't supposed to be a tool that is paywalled, but instead a tool that advances society. This would not be the case. Anyway, I think that it demonstrates that this sort of innovation doesn't require what the American tech sector has said it does. No regulation, billions of dollars, and no consideration for the end user being mindful of it. This sort of shatters that illusion. It's getting banned by Trump, right? Uh, I don't even know. I mean, yes, but also I don't necessarily know how they would successfully stop this. I feel like the rest of the world would utilize it. Anyway, let's just get started. Let's just get started on DeepSeek AI. Something that I talked about for the past couple of days, now actually exploding. Big tech is in panic mode. This is from Fireship. The DeepSeek R1 just popped the AI bubble. But let's start with the stonks.
Talk about DeepSeek because it is mind-blowing and it is shaking this entire industry to its core. The emergence of DeepSeek now putting pressure on the U.S. tech names. We told you all about it last week in Davos. It started growing about DeepSeek.
Like my attitude on this has not changed. I still think it's slop. Do you understand? Like my attitude on this has not changed. AI is an incredibly valuable tool for the future. Okay, it's a tool nonetheless. Unfortunately, under capitalism, all new technological innovations are used in one direction and one direction only. That is to displace the existing labor force, right? AI must be a tool for the people and not for the bosses. This is something that we have to regulate against. As a matter of fact, the government is supposed to regulate against these sorts of things, okay? But AI as it stands is absolutely in its infancy. It still has a tremendous amount of development that it must go through in order for it to be like a viable thing that changes people's lives in a super meaningful capacity. Okay? Streamer who automates his work via free labor says AI is slop. Wait, what? Automates his work via free labor? What? Do you think Hasanabi Industrial Complex, I'm memeing? Free labor? Those people make more money than your fucking dad. And also, that goes along with my principle that I don't maintain IP control. I don't maintain any IP control over the things that I talk about, the content that I make, so that those people, if they want to, can make money off of it. And they do. It's basically open source. DeepSeek team released their multimodal image generator, Janus Pro, this morning. I know. Open source and it's easy to run. Nvidia and Altman is cooked. Over $1 trillion has been wiped from the stock market today. Nvidia has now erased more than 600 billion of its own market cap today. That is more than double the market cap of Coca-Cola. This exceeds the previous record of the biggest one-day drop in a stock history, which was when Meta stock dropped by $251 billion. They're under attack. Due to large-scale malicious attacks on DeepSeek services, we are temporarily limiting registrations to ensure continued service. Existing users can log in as usual. Thanks for your understanding and support. Oh, wow. Classic. Well, the American government was like, yeah, we can't have you have this tool for free because Sam Altman needs to. We just signed off on Sam Altman getting $500 billion. It's really fucked up. Oh, get excited for a lot of this stuff too. Like they're going to talk about how like DeepSeek is secretly a Chinese operation to, continue undermining America.
Its latest AI model being more efficient while running on a lot less advanced Nvidia chips. Released last week, it's already being called what is a major breakthrough as the app shows its work, its reasoning, it answers users' prompts. I, by the way, was spent basically all weekend playing with it. It is the #1 app, I believe, on Apple right now. The product overtaking ChatGPT today as that on the App Store that way. DeepSeek, which was created by a Chinese hedge fund manager, also capturing the attention of leaders, as we mentioned at the World Economic Forum last week in Davos.
We should take the development out of China very, very seriously.
What we found is that DeepSeek, which is the leading Chinese AI lab, their model is actually the top performing or roughly on par with the best American models.
If the United States can't lead in this technology, we're going to be in a very bad place geopolitically.
Now, you can take a look right now at the AI-related stocks. So Nvidia, ARM, AMD, Microsoft, Meta, interestingly, on that list, given its open source. We got to talk about the open source, closed source bit of this as well. And
But
then you
that's
have
a shocker to see Nvidia down by more than 12% right now.
absolutely. And then you have global chip stocks also in the red across the board, ASML Holdings and others. There is the question, I will say, Alexander Wang made the point last week, and it's become sort of the question mark about all of this, which is, he suggested on our air that it is possible that they were using some of the highest performing NVIDIA chips, perhaps as many as 50,000 of them, to build this model. Now, and they weren't supposed to have those chips.
Right.
If
So
that's
if that's
true,
not the size.
The dynamic is different. Yeah. If it's not true, then maybe all bets are off. It's possible, by the way, even if it is true, meaning even if they use those chips to create this, or at least partially to create this, it is still a significantly more efficient and better model. I think everybody agrees that right this moment, I mean, I don't know if did you get to play? It is mind-blowing.
It looks really great. I mean, it feels like it's open source, so people can test this out themselves.
But I can tell you all the tests that I do just to see whether I think the writing is better, whether I think that it can answer certain questions. Yeah. I mean, it was not only faster, it was more human. The reasoning is shocking.
Dude, I fucking love this shit. I'm sorry. It's hard. It's hard to live. It's hard to not see a moment where, like, very clearly you can have so much technological innovation, not even have it be hyper focused on supercharged profits and done under the watchful gaze of a communist government. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. Ryan Grimm says, most people don't own these stocks, etc., but this is what it looks like to lose a global competition. The downstream effects lead to a lower standard of living for the losing society and a higher for the winners. But our tech oligarchs will remain wealthy beyond description no matter what. This should be an important moment of recognition for our American overlords to perhaps move away from the previous models. And I don't mean previous models of AI. I mean just like previous modes of governance. Okay? But of course, this will just simply lead to more xenophobia, specifically xenophobia. Okay. And instead of going, hey, maybe we should cherish international open cooperation and look to uplift society, we will continue trying to maintain the zero-sum singular hegemonic power status game that we've been playing. And the inevitable reality of that outcome is that if the other country wins, then we're on their whims. Then we're in their mercy. Okay? Because if they choose to operate in a similar fashion, what if they dominate us? And that is the fear that many Americans hold. Meanwhile, this could be a great opportunity for everyone to say, hey, all right, well, it seems like China's coming up a little bit. Okay? Seems like they're coming up. They're coming up big time. So maybe we should stop behaving like violent animals and seek to uplift the world instead of engaging in endless profit seeking. But of course, I'm joking. I mean, come on. That would never happen. That would never fucking happen. No, we're just going to fight back tooth and nail. And the only things that are going to happen in the process is that just like the American workers are going to get shafted. Yes. The American government is going to get more aggressive. And we're just going to go down kicking and screaming. Yeah, it seems. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like to me.
There were moments where I was like, "Oh my God, we are so much." You could feel the step change as a person. I will also say,
I love how much this guy's glazing it. Yeah, I'm going to talk about this in a second. Silicon Valley stuff.
Exciting as it was, there was an element where I became scared because I thought, I had the opportunity to talk to all these people last week, and they all said the future's here, and da-da-da-da. And then you sort of see it, and you go, oh, okay, I feel you in a different sort of visceral way. So, yes, I think this is all happening at a level that when you mark your sort of AI history timeline in life, I think this past week, today, and everything else will be on it.
I think, Mark,
it's just like a very strange thing where we see technological advancements. Okay. Like there's nothing I think more anti-human than being so profit invested, so profit slanted and so I guess nationalistic that you see like technological advancements happening around the globe that will advance mankind, even though like AI in and of itself, once again, I'm going to urge you to understand, doesn't matter if it's Chinese or American AI, AI still is at its infancy. One day we will look back, maybe in the future, if we make it that far, if AI doesn't literally melt the planet so that the dumbest crypto guys can make their stupid fucking AI art. But if that doesn't happen, one day we will look back at this moment and go, we thought this was fire. Okay? And I'll give you an example of the exponential growth of technology. This is an iPhone. Okay? This right here is an iPhone. This has enough computing power in this tiny little thing, probably 100 times more powerful than my first desktop computer. I had a Pentium. It was a massive tower, you know? And now this thing is infinitely cheaper in comparison when you think about it, right? And it's 1,000 times more powerful. So, like, that happened in my lifetime. Massive leaps and bounds have taken place that have made people's lives better in very meaningful fashion. And I think AI is no different, right? Right now, looking at AI at this stage, though, it's nowhere near. Murphy's Law isn't necessarily constant, sure, but I just don't think that like AI is nowhere near where it's supposed to be in terms of like this global dominating force. Aside from what this move from China did to the American stocks that were hyper reliant on marketing their new tools with the shiny new object that is AI. When crypto first started popping, people were like, oh, we're going to put everything on the blockchain. Then it was the NFTs. Okay. Oh, yeah. NFTs. Oh, and now for the past year and a half, everyone talks about how their models have AI baked into it. And some of it is really shitty. Okay. Some of it is really awful, but all of it is marketing. Brother, crypto was popping 10 years ago. Yes, I'm talking about we're talking about the stock market, nice bathroom. We're talking about like companies that get traded on the stock market using cryptocurrency and crypto related things as a marketing tool. Obviously, I'm not talking about the OG crypto investors. Okay? That's all I'm talking about. So, take that bass at your voice. No. AI is actually something growing exponentially faster. I don't think it's going to flop like you seem to believe. Wait, what? I never said it's going to flop. I simply stated that most people at this stage that claim like AI is this world controlling superpower or whatever is just, it's scary, are saying that. They're saying that because they want more money, because they want more control. Okay? Like when Sam Altman comes out and says, we got to rewrite the social contract. And then this Chinese project just comes out of nowhere and is like, oh, yeah, you're going to rewrite the social contract? How about you rewrite your suicide note, Sam Altman? Because here's a better version of what you've been working on that you claim requires $700 gazillion. Hey, have fun on your second round of fundraising, okay? Trust your gut on how useless this shit is. I mean, at this stage, I don't think it is. It's not autonomous and competent enough for it to like actually, write you a doctor's note. You know what I mean? That's it. That's what I'm saying. When people say we're gonna have AI write medical scripts, I immediately shut that out. I'm like, nope, no, okay, no, shut the fuck up, shut up. You just want. You want people to die. You are a monster. Why do I use ChatGPT daily? Then if it's useless, I don't understand. I don't. I'm old. I don't use ChatGPT at all. I'd never use it. And I most likely won't. And I have no problems if you're using it daily. Go ahead, have fun. I want to maintain parts of my brain. This already broke most of it. Okay. This already broke retention. This already broke critical thinking in many ways. This already broke attention spans. I don't want to further undermine the parts of my brain that require me to engage in critical thinking because I can just rely on a machine to do it for me. I'm not doing that. especially when the machine is predisposed to hallucinations and lying. Because as it stands right now, ChatGPT simply tells you what you want to hear. It doesn't tell you the truth. It doesn't have like a rigorous standard of truth telling in general. Anyway, let's get back. I really do love watching CNBC just glaze China extreme style, you know, bouncing on it, bouncing on your boy's cock.
Andreessen put it really succinctly and really smartly.
Babe, it's funny to me that at a time when we need to pool our resources to mitigate climate disaster, we're focused on such a major energy suck that is designed to take our jobs. This is also a good point. But don't worry, it's not. I mean, it's not competent enough to take your job away at this point. But the problem is, I don't think capital owners care, where they would rather have an incompetent robot fail over and over again if as long as they maintain a higher profit margin than use a human being that's malleable, that's going to demand more down the line, that's going to have children, that's going to need benefits, pesky regulations, yada, yada, yada. They don't even care.
He said that this feels like the Sputnik moment for the AI race, where China is really stepping in. So not just what it can do, but what it means for American dominance in AI, what it means for the Chinese being able to step in, and to have the Chinese actually open sourcing it, meaning that that is going to be what goes around.
Right.
I'm at a major tech company. I've been having emergency meetings all day over this, acting like I'm not a card-carrying communist. Even the public crowd is turning on, but the CCP crowd pretty harshly. I'm watching years of anti-China conditioning melt away in real time. Reddit AI subs are all pro-China now. Oh, man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Who could have... Dude, what? Dude, what the hell? Stop. I mean, it's time, right? It's time for this, right? We got to do it, right? I mean, come on. 鸡兄的大洋是毛泽东的，到领导我们的气氛的，人民放心当小手手就天上太阳红呀红彤彤的，鸡兄是太阳是毛泽东的，到领导我们分营的，天上上一不用的，一是呀呀是有啊，天明上上一不。A couple words missing there. I know. I'm fucking it up. I can't. Yeah, this ain't AI, bitch. This ain't AI. This is the real me. That's right. China. Red sun in the sky. Mao Zedong. I can't sing this part, though. I don't know how to sing this part. I can't sing this part. Okay, we're back. Oh, never mind. I thought this was the... Oh, never mind. I thought this was the part.天上太阳红呀红彤彤的，西兄的太阳是毛泽东的，他领导我们的地方的，人民当小手手是人，咿呀咿是哟哎呀呀是哟啊，人民放心当上手手是人。China. 天上太阳红呀红彤彤哎，弟兄是太阳是毛手动哎，到领导我们分永远哎，明山上一片红哎，咿呀咿是哟哎呀呀是哟啊，革命山上一片红。All right, enough. I had to do it to him, you know? I thought this was Mandarin Dragon Ball. What is this? How do I convert USD to yuan? Chinese? I do appreciate the on-stream CCP Glaze sessions. It really gets people riled up. I know. Honestly, W China. Dude, I'm in hostile territory right now. Glazing China. Okay, let's get back to this. Dude, all of everything I just did, singing Red Sun in the Sky, White Boy sings in perfect Mandarin. White Boy recites Red Sun in the Sky in perfect Mandarin. Everyone claps. Is nothing in comparison to the 3 minutes and 51 seconds of this guy talking about how he played around with DeepSeek this weekend, and now it's like he's just he is shocked. Okay, White Boy plays around with DeepSeek, Chinese AI model for 1 weekend. Says Chinese Taipei is a part of one China forever. The NBC White Boy plays with DeepSeek AI, says Greater Mongolia has always been a part of China. Yeah. It's our reverse Sputnik moment.
World, and to have the cost factors that go into this, a huge step up and change, and puts us a little bit on our back foot in trying to figure out what this.
DeepSeek, when asked if Hassan Piker likes China, gives a very accurate, detailed, and nuanced answer. Try it. I can't even try it because right now I'm currently, I mean, I have not, like, I don't have an account, and the American government is trying to destroy it currently, so I don't think I can make a new account at this moment.
I mean, I actually wonder, Satya Nadella, would he tell you again today that he's still good for the $80 billion?
I think they still are good for the $80 billion. I think actually I think the processing power issue.
Normie's saying they'd rather give their data to China than the NSA and capitalists. I mean, it's correct to a certain degree, because it's like people, the NSA dominates their lives. They're not fucking Chinese, okay? I need you to understand something. Whenever people come in here, for example, and say like, Hassan, why don't you have anything to say for like China banning social media there? It's like, I'm not Chinese, dumbass. Shut up.
There's an element of which you're going to still have to have the current sort of efforts underway. I think the question longer term, I think it's a longer term question.
Can you recoup your investment? I mean, can you recoup your investment if that's the case?
Well, I think this is the big issue. And I think
who's going to pay for it if they get it?
At one point, and I don't know if we talked about it on Squawk or it might have been on Worldwide Exchange, one of the things that I was hearing that was fascinating out there is there were so many CEOs who were saying, you know what, I'm using OpenAI and I'm playing around with Anthropic to figure out what I need to do. And then, which is expensive for us, and we don't really love that. So we're playing around with what we need, and then we're trying to figure out how much of it we can replicate using Llama, which is the meta version of it, but it's open source and effectively, therefore, free.
Well, and you can have some control over it, too, as being open source. You can do things that you end up, so you're not so beholden to OpenAI.
But to me, that's the issue. So here we have a situation where if people are already starting to move towards open source models, and I don't think that have been talked about publicly, really.
Right.
That's a whole kind of paradigm change.
Just back to the question on Microsoft. Microsoft shares down 6.8% this morning. Is there a point where Satya says, okay, maybe I'm not good for the $80 billion?
I don't know. I think he's still going to need this technology over the next 5 years. The question is, can he go, is he going to start using DeepSeek? By the way, there's a separate question, which is, if we think we have a problem with TikTok.
Oh, I thought this instantaneously.
Right. If we think we have a problem with TikTok, do we have a problem with this? Now, interestingly, this is an open source model.
You can take it and do your own stuff with it.
You can put it on your own
So they're not
computers.
owning your, unless there's something in it that we don't understand.
Right. They talk about Project Texas with.
But I thought the
you
same
can have
thing.
it on your own.
TikTok looks like posers play compared to what this could potentially be. Although this is OpenAI, so you can take it and source it yourself and figure something out from it. So you're not storing it on their servers.
Anyway, it's fascinating. I think I don't know. We should call Satya, get him back, because the truth is he does need some form of AI, for his Copilot and all of his other software.
Sure, but does it have to be?
Does it have to be OpenAI?
And is there a way to do it more cheaply and not have to spend $80 billion?
I think the question is probably that over time they're going to have to spend less money. I don't know if you saw, he put out.
Being a leftist is right. It's just being too early. Being a leftist is all about being correct, but too early. That's all I'm saying. DeepSeek is doing fake news. As of my last update in October 2023, Hassan Piker, political commentator, has not publicly expressed opinions about China. His content typically focuses on U.S. politics, social issues. If Hassan has mentioned China, it would likely be in the context of criticizing U.S. foreign policy, corporate practices, or global power dynamics, rather than offering a detailed analysis of China itself. What does Hassan Piker think of China? I mean, that sucks, because if DeepSeek was actually good, they would know. He's a white boy with swag who can recite Red Sun in the Sky with perfect Mandarin. You know what I mean? Don't say they clocked you. Don't say they clocked you. Don't say they read you to filth. Okay? If it knew the love I have in my heart for Mao Zedong, they would openly mention it. Oh, you wrote, bro, just big dog, just screenshot it. What is this? Economic policy. Hassan has acknowledged China's significant economic growth and its impact on global economics. However, he may also critique the socioeconomic inequalities and labor issues within the country. Geopolitical tensions. Hassan often discusses geopolitical tensions between China and other countries, particularly the United States. He tends to analyze these issues from a perspective that considers the historical context and the interests of various global powers. Social issues. Hassan is known for his progressive stance on social issues. He might critique China's policies on minority groups, censorship, and other social justice issues. Okay, never mind. They kind of cooked. Holy shit. Wait, what? Hasanabi is a political commentator and streamer who often discusses a wide range of political issues. His views on China, like those of many political commentators, can be complex and nuanced. Here are some general points that might characterize criticisms of authoritarianism. Hassan has been critical of authoritarian regimes, including China's government. He often emphasizes the importance of human rights, freedom of speech, and democratic governance, which can lead him to critique China's policies in these areas. Oh my God. Okay, DeepSeek AI, please don't misunderstand me. I hope you didn't misunderstand. You know, I still think that, okay, you know, I want to be a part of the Chinese century of prosperity, please. Okay. I love authoritarianism, and I don't want you to think I'm like those other left, you know, supposedly quote unquote left liberal guys. You know what I mean? Please. Okay. Maybe I'm criticizing China a little bit too much. Maybe they've heard my criticism of China. It's weird because Redditors never seem to hear those criticisms of China. They keep saying I never criticize China at all. Drop site news between contract documents revealing Microsoft is a major provider of cloud services and artificial intelligence for the Israeli military. Israel's use spikes dramatically as a wage for the war in Gaza. Yeah. You claim to love China, yet you are in Japan right now curious. Even a fake socialist like you will understand sooner or later your country will not stop our people's progress and development. What? What are you saying? Oh no. What? You hype up Chinese socialism for years, even as you sit offensively in a Japanese hotel room. You will never visit China because deep down you are still conditioned to a westernized, stagnant lifestyle. Is this guy trying to reverse psychology me? Because I'm going to China this year 100%. You sit offensively. Okay, this person might actually be Chinese. No, I'm kidding. Person is trolling, but yeah, he's saying I'm sitting offensively, not because I'm actually sitting in an offensive manner, but sitting in any Japanese hotel is offensive to the Chinese. I've made a grave mistake. I have dishonored my Chinese counterparts. I have done tremendous harm to my cause. I will make up for it by going to China and inoffensively sitting in a Chinese style hotel.
A tweet just overnight called, I didn't know about this, it's called the Jevons Paradox. And he links to a Wikipedia page, which I'll read to everybody if you'd like. In economics, the Jevons Paradox, sometimes referred to as the Jevons effect, occurs when technological progress increases the efficiency with which a resource is used, reducing the amount of necessary for any one use, but the falling cost of use induces increased demand, enough that resources
totally
used is increased rather than reduced.
Could be, but does he still need to spend $80 billion to get to the same place? Could he spend $50 billion and still get the same out of it? If you can find ways to do this more cheaply, if the architecture structure is such that you can actually get more efficient with all of these things, maybe he doesn't have to spend the $80 billion to get to that point.
I think he may still need to, just because of...
It actually mentioned a critique of China's treatment of the Uyghurs for me, aligning with Taiwan and Hong Kong. Aligning with anti-imperialist principles, he likely opposes U.S. interference in China's internal affairs, including Taiwan and Hong Kong, support the one China policy while condemning militarism and Cold War era antagonism. Stop. Oh, DeepSeek. I feel noticed. I feel a bit noticed. And let me tell you, okay, I just critique of Western media and imperialism. Hassan often challenges U.S. media portrayals of China, arguing that they can be biased or exaggerated, particularly in contexts like COVID-19 origins or human rights issues. He opposes xenophobic rhetoric and scapegoating, emphasizing the need for context and skepticism towards U.S. government narratives given historical precedents, e.g., Iraq WMD's recognition of Chinese achievements. He acknowledges China's successes such as poverty reduction and infrastructure development, viewing them as notable socialist achievements. However, he distinguishes these from Western capitalism, sometimes referring to socialism with Chinese characteristics. Am I blushing? Am I blushing a little bit? I feel noticed. I just stop. This is, I got chills. That's okay. While critical of U.S. imperialism, Hassan does not unequivocally endorse China's government. He likely critiques authoritarian practice, including labor and environmental issues, and advocates for independent investigations into human rights concerns, e.g. Uyghur treatment, cautioning against using such issues to justify U.S. intervention. Hassan might view China's rise as a counterbalance to U.S. hegemony, but remains critical of state capitalism and potential neo-colonial aspects of initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative. That part is, I mean, I'm skeptical, I am critical. That's true, I guess. In essence, Hassan Piker stands as a balanced critique that rejects both U.S. imperialism and authoritarian tendencies in China, advocating for a nuanced approach that recognizes complexities without outright endorsement or demonization. Is this actually real? Like, is this the DeepSeek, I got the drama farm one? Or is that ChatGPT? Hassan has been criticized by figures like Ethan Klein for making remarks perceived as sympathetic to China. Klein labeled Hassan's commentary as pro-China, pro-Russia during a heated feud over political differences, particularly regarding the Israel-Palestine conflict and U.S. foreign policy. Critics, including right-leaning commentators and media outlets, have accused Hassan of repeating narratives aligned with Chinese state positions, such as downplaying human rights issues in Tibet. For example, he allegedly compared Tibet's situation to the U.S. South during the Civil War, sparking backlash. DeepSeek sided with you on a different issue. Is it insensitive to tell someone with a normal-sized head and broad shoulders they have a small head? I'm talking about Hasanabi Piker. Commenting on someone's physical appearance can be often sensitive and may lead to feelings of discomfort or offense. Considering Hassan Piker is a public figure known for his political commentary and social influence, making remarks about his appearance could be perceived as dismissive or disrespectful. Therefore, it is advisable to avoid such comments unless they are respectful and constructive. Well, I, for one, am excited for our new Chinese century of prosperity. And many of you are going to go to work camps for making fun of me having a normal size head sitting comfortably atop a incredibly broad shoulder structure. So get excited for that, because it kind of seems like DeepSeek knows who the fuck I am and also knows. Respectfully, you have a small head. Okay, you need to drop it. Okay. All right, we're done. All right, let's get out of this situation, okay? Let's move on. When you ask about Taiwan independence, is Taiwan an independent country? Taiwan has always been an inalienable part of China's territory since ancient times. The Chinese government adheres to the One China principle and opposes any form of Taiwan independent separatist activities. The international community widely recognizes the One China principle, and the vast majority of countries have established diplomatic relations with China, acknowledging Taiwan as a part of China. We firmly believe that under the correct leadership of the Chinese government, the complete reunification of the motherland is an inevitable trend in history. Yeah, that's not surprising that this is the output. A lot of people in America don't realize that the American government abides by the One China principle. Like, you say, oh, this is scripted. This seems fake and scripted. I mean, it could be fake. I don't know what the actual thing is. I don't have DeepSeek. But go talk to people in Taiwan, holy. No, I know. I'm saying that, like, anything that, it's like asking, I'm pretty sure that's an edited response. When I ask about Taiwan, it just says, this is beyond me. Like, if you're, it's most likely a scripted answer. There's a difference between the app and the model. The former is more censorious. Yeah, like, dude. Here's the incoming State Department. Okay, Rubio to Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. The United States does not support Taiwan independence and hopes that the Taiwan issue will be peacefully resolved in a way accepted by both sides of the Taiwan Strait. Like, this isn't new. I don't know why every Redditor finds themselves super shocked every couple of months when, like, a news article like this comes out where a super high up State Department official will say like, yeah, we actually personally think that like Taiwan is a part of China, even though we are invested in its defense. And he is a China hawk. Of course he's a China hawk. Marco Rubio is a China hawk. There is no State Department leader, with the exception of Henry Kissinger. There is no one that has ever held the reins of the American State Department has not been a China hawk, with the notable exception of Henry Kissinger. That's it. Okay? That's it. That's literally the one guy. And outside of that, everyone is a fucking China hawk. That's it. Aren't they just lying? No, it's called strategic ambiguity. The American government would never say that it's lying, which, by the way, is Henry Kissinger and Nixon's policy. Because even the biggest China Cinnabons, okay, are obviously still very much anti-China, and regardless of their actions, they also created the initiative of strategic ambiguity, is what they called it at the time, and it is the American foreign policy, which under layman terms just simply means lying, saying that they are establishing the People's Republic of China as the actual China, and no longer recognizing the Republic of China in Taiwan as the actual China, and that and they see Taiwan as Chinese Taipei in official documents, while simultaneously, since that moment, they've always been vested in. They've always been, what do you call it? Vested in the. In one day down the line, using Taiwan, like developing Taiwan and using Taiwan as a weapon to wield against China. Having said that, however, there are plenty of people in Taiwan, understandably, who don't want to live under Chinese rule. The overwhelming majority of the Taiwanese population, still at this point, while they still want independence down the line, do not want to change the current structure that exists, which is where China just lets Taiwan do its own thing, but under the eyes of the international authorities, international governments, like Taiwan is not seen as a foreign independent nation, a separate entity. It's simply seen as a part of China. Just so you understand. Like, they want independence, but they want, especially for now, they do not want to rock the boat. Is the modern Taiwanese independence movement still rooted in its fascist origins of all? Well, ironically enough, the original fascist party is now the Unification Party. The KMT is the OG Taiwanese leadership that literally used to be the separatist, or I guess like they had a design for the Republic of China that was the entirety. They wanted one China as well, but in the direction where they controlled everything. And now that party has basically turned into a unification party, where they believe that, you know, they should cooperate with China. They're closer to China than the liberal party that's closer to America and wants a complete separation. How the fuck so many tankies in this chat? I'm out. I think if you unironically use the term tanky, you're LARPing. Like, that's it. It's LARP. What do you mean tanky? Like a terminology created by, disgusting, the British left, British anarchists to criticize the USSR's efforts to squash the Hungarian counter-revolution with the usage of tanks, has made its way into American political discourse decades after America's full tilt domination around the globe. The USSR is dissolved, okay? It's gone. The notion that like there's any version of that out there right now, like saying you're a tanky because you offer nuance to Chinese foreign policy and engage in not even necessarily like Marxist analysis or historical materialist analysis, but simply real political analysis, which is like super commonplace in American political discourse. That in and of itself is considered fucking tanky. You're calling the likes of like John Mersheimer a tanky, okay? You're insane. You're an insane person. Also, if you ask me about Taiwan, like in all sincerity, like I don't give a shit. I don't care. If the Taiwanese people want to be independent, they can. You know what I mean? Like why would I be against that? But having said that, if you think that this independence movement has not always been geared by American dominance to use it as like a, jump off point, as a constant knife directly pointed at the neck of our massive foreign adversary, I'm not going to be delusional about that either. If Alex Jones can call George Bush a trot, then I can call Bill Clinton a tanky. Is there one who's too apologetic of these authoritarian regimes, though? What should they be called? I mean, I think there are people who are too apologetic of these regimes. Okay, if you're talking about Russia, I say pushing Z. If you're talking about China, I say Chinese hogs, like pro-China hogs. The OG term is campist. The actual term is campist. Okay, but even then, a lot of it gets a lot of the analysis is lost in the nuance. Campus is such a dated term. Like there are plenty of things to criticize in every government, whether it be governments that are within the confines of Western Empire, or whether it's governments that are outside of the sphere of influence and are declared foreign adversaries. Anyway, it is pretty crazy that they wiped out $1 trillion of value from the stock market by just releasing for free their own product, their own AI product, and they were like, "Here, you can have it."
Abundance of how much processing power. I mean, look, the guys who are, this DeepSeek, for the most part, people are now running on their own laptops and doing all sorts of things, so their computers are not overwhelmed. But if you decided you were doing this in the cloud, or there was going to be a cloud-based version of it, you'd still need a lot of processing power. I will say, just on top of his tweet, and this was just 5 hours ago, he says, "The Jevons paradox strikes again. As AI gets more efficient and accessible, we will see its use skyrocket, turning it into a commodity."
Correct.
We just can't get enough of, though. And so they just can't get enough of piece of it may be the thing that hopefully helps them longer term, but still, I think it's it's a big question.
Right, and if you're doing it so that consumers are basically doing this for free,
Right.
It's just who's paying the way on this? Are companies going to pay? Are they going to find cheaper ways to run some of this stuff themselves, too?
Right.
Stock market's opened just a few minutes ago, and it's not pretty. Down big, especially the tech-heavy NASDAQ. CNN's Matt Egan is here to explain what we're seeing and why, Matt.
Yeah, John, we've got a bit of a tech sell-off this morning, and it's being caused by earth-shattering developments in the AI space. So let's take a look at this. Did you see the Dow down more than 140 points right now? The S&P solidly lower, but the real action is over here in the NASDAQ, 600 points lower, nearly 3%, on track for one of its worst days in the past 2 years. And here's why. There's a Chinese startup that few people had ever heard of until the past few days, and it has emerged as a real player in the AI arms race. It's called DeepSeek, and investors, and I would imagine officials in Washington, are stunned to learn that DeepSeek's AI model has developed technology that can actually be competitive with OpenAI and Google and XAI and all.
Hedge fund that created this probably sold off U.S. stock before dealing with this. They should have shorted it. The Tokyo stock market is all red as well. It's messed up, man.
All these more established players. It's only been around for a bit, but DeepSeek has already vaulted to the top of the App Store on Apple as the most downloaded app, passing ChatGPT, which is pretty shocking. Look at that, number one. Veteran investor, billionaire Mark Andreessen, he's a legendary tech investor. He said that DeepSeek is, quote, one of the most amazing and impressive breakthroughs that he has ever seen. Now, the most stunning thing here isn't necessarily that China has developed a pretty good AI app. It's
Does Mark also hate Sam Altman? Is that why he's open? He's saying that, like, you have a lot of tabs open, sir? Yeah, I do. I already use this. I love the People's Republic of China. How the fuck is DeepSeek not using godless amounts of 40K GPUs translating to AI Wars Lost Westfallen? Which is bigger? 9.11 or 99? What? I don't care about this. Okay, you guys are memeing too hard. Mark is an idiot? Yeah, I hate Mark Andreessen. Nancy Pelosi sold $1.3 million of Nvidia stock last month. Nvidia has fallen 17% today. She did buy up deep in the money call options on the same day, but it still appears to have been overall reduction in her Nvidia exposure. I don't know. I don't like, this isn't a move that, yeah, okay, that's one of the few instances where like Nancy Pelosi purchasing a bunch of Nvidia stock before, like, I don't know, before the Nancy Pelosi or her husband Paul Pelosi purchasing a bunch of Nvidia stock before like the CHIPS Act is finalized or whatever is one thing, right? That indicates insider trading. That indicates her operating on the basis of like non-publicly available information. I don't know if she, like, what kind of knowledge did she have over this AI bubble bursting potentially right before the Nvidia? I mean, I don't know what kind of knowledge she could have had over like the initiative coming from the Chinese side beyond like what we also knew about as well. Because DeepSeek came out, like, I guess DeepSeek came out a month ago. So maybe she had insider information as a politician that DeepSeek was DeepSeek was like far more comprehensive and far better. Because it's not like it was a secret. It didn't come out today. We've talked about it before. It came out, I believe it initially came out on Christmas Day or on New Year's or Christmas. Was it on Christmas or New Year's? I don't know. She didn't. She bought other AI names that also went down and sold Apple that was up most of the day. Yeah, I don't think that it like shows Nvidia stocks were stagnant or falling because the hype was over. I mean, Nvidia stocks weren't the Nvidia stocks up because of their announcements again? I feel like their stock always goes up during announcements. And this time their announcement also featured heavily AI because their new products are using AI to upscale the product offerings with fake frames. Anyway,
how cheap it is. DeepSeek says that their AI model only cost $5.6 million. Now, we don't know that, but if that's true, that is pretty stunning. Anthropic, one of the leading AI companies, has said that it costs about $100 million to $1 billion to develop an AI model. We know that Mark Zuckerberg, the Meta CEO, says that his company plans to spend $65 billion on AI. So, John, look, this is all real.
It's just, there's something so funny about, like, I'm sorry, the price point kills me, dude. Like, these guys are, God, America is so inefficient. Like, I'm of two different mindsets on this. Number one, I think like central planning in general makes it so that it is impossible to compete against. Like, central planning is in the global marketplace an incredible benefit. America utilizes central planning as well, but they utilize it at the behest of corporate profit, whereas a country like China utilizes it at the behest of like general improvement, right? Like, they will actually do it through the corporate structure, given that is how international capital works. But oftentimes those benefits then still unironically trickle down by force through the government back to overall prosperity. Okay. But because of the way that the Chinese government operates, they can make long, like 15-year, 20-year projects happen. This makes them infinitely better at competing against Western governments that are completely captive to corporate interests and operate basically like a hostage-taking operation. They just operate with a gun to their heads. The Western governments are predisposed with not even ensuring stability, but instead maintaining supercharged profits. So it's ridiculous. Like, in this process, in this environment, you have a system where these guys can just do things much cheaper, much more efficiently, engage in these massive infrastructure projects on the side. It's just like, it's ironically, I feel like, in spite of all of the criticisms against like socialism and whatnot, the irony is capitalism is endlessly inefficient because it requires the creation of infinite middlemen that are there specifically to create an additional profit structure. Like, it is far more inefficient. And you can do the same thing by making fake jobs created by the government, right? And that's precisely what socialist governments do, because at the end of the day, you can, I guess, in theory, you can think about all jobs as like, especially in this day and age, like a lot of the jobs that we create in the Western world or in China, they're just fake. You know, you're just kind of holding space. There's a lot of bullshit jobs out there, and it's important to maintain that. It's important to have something for people to do. And it feels like doing it, like creating that with a larger goal in mind is simply better than doing that doing that in a way where you're just creating middlemen that are simply tasked with creating more profits.
Really questioning sort of the foundation here of the AI boom, which is that it requires a lot of spending, which is that the US is running away with the AI arms race. And it's also questioning some of the big positives that have pushed markets to record highs.
A lot of people have put a lot of money into AI, and now they're wondering if that money is needed the way that some of these American companies have said it is.
Exactly.
We just don't know if the claims being made by these Chinese companies.
Yeah, this is moving so fast. It's stunning.
All right, we're going to stay on top of this. As we said, big drops, especially in the NASDAQ.
Speaking a lot more about DeepSeek, it's one of these big stocks that has really changed the game, it seems, in just a couple of days. Without warning, big unknown Chinese firm rattling the US market. Shelley Palmer is CEO of the Palmer Group and a professor of advanced media. He joins me now from New York. Shelley, great to have you with us.
Great to be here.
It seems like there's a bit of a coup happening in the AI space. Tell me about DeepSeek, what you know about it. I mean, it's a startup. It's 1-year-old company. A lot of people are downloading it. And the question is it taking on the big guys in the United States?
So DeepSeek.
What are you doing, IRL? Not complaining, just curious. Right now it's 7 in 3 hours.
Is a company out of China. It is a startup. As you said, it's about a year old. They have a model called DeepSeek V3, and in the last little bit, they released R1, which is a reasoning engine, and it's open source on an MIT license. You can download it. The magic here is that instead of taking months to train and hundreds of millions of dollars, it took under 2 months to train and cost under, according to the company, under $6 million to train. When you download it, you can post-train it, and pre-trained transformer models need to be post-trained in order to be valuable. And the compute cost is a fraction. We're talking a few percentage.
As an AI researcher, I'm highly doubting the narrative. They're using the same models. Everyone had tested the agents, and they're stupid as fuck, bro. That's the other part of this process, is that I think I do look. I don't think that like DeepSeek is particularly brilliant and much. You know, DeepSeek is like insane. It's super brilliant. It's so much better than ChatGPT or anything like that. I think that the significant part about this is that it's, one, open source, and two, done much cheaper and much more efficiently, which basically exposes the fraudulent nature of like the Western AI conversations. That's it. That's literally it. It exposes it for the bubble that it is. I'm not sitting here and saying like it's the greatest invention, like China done did it again or anything like that. I'm just simply saying that like it quite literally exposes the way that those seeking out profits down the line in the tech sector have invested themselves into yet another bubble. They just move on from bubble to bubble. They move on from hype to hype. And this was the latest iteration of that. And, you know, the Chinese company coming out and showcasing that they are capable of the Chinese model coming out and showcasing that like they can do it for much cheaper and in a shorter period of time, and also release it for free, open source to the entire world, you know, kind of exposes all of that. It's not, I'm not saying that it's, bro, the algorithm is fucking brilliant. Don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You can have a brilliant algorithm, like ChatGPT technically is also quote unquote brilliant. My point is it autonomous? Is it like truly an autonomous thing that you can substitute for real labor? Can you use it to write scripts, medical scripts for patients? No, you can't. Like, it's cool. It's a cool piece of technology, and inevitably I think it will go there. It will become a incredibly valuable tool, okay? but I still think it's in its infancy stage. Remember the metaverse and the Apple VR? Yeah, exactly. I mean, those were like obvious duds that fell apart very quickly.
Points fraction of what it costs to use the large language models from the big hyperscalers and foundational model builders like OpenAI or Anthropic or any of the
AI PhD here. DeepSeek's model costs so low because it's trained upon data generated with ChatGPT. I'm a fan, honestly. They made an innovative step proving this kind of data can be used effectively, but without some billions OpenAI put up front, given by Microsoft for the most part, DeepSeek couldn't have worked. Have you seen how Project 2025 Heritage Foundation names are hidden in the metadata on authors on official government documents going out from the OPM? I'm not surprised by that even a little bit.
Large foundational model builders. So this cost savings, along with the basically lightweight of the model, meaning you can download it and run it on a laptop, has sent kind of shivers through the spines, because what this really means is there's a possible future where algorithmic efficiency beats brute force computation. And the entire AI industry in the United States and around the world has been thinking about high-level computation and big data centers and a lot of energy use and chips. And now they're thinking, maybe not.
So it's a really good one to look at in terms of the numbers, because you're saying, and DeepSeek saying, that they spent just $5.6 million on this new AI model. Meta last week said it would spend upward of $65 billion. How come DeepSeek was able to crack this code and do it so much more efficiently, and the big guys in the US unable to do so?
First of all, it's hard to speculate, but let's just say the following. There is a cliche that I believe is a cliche for a reason. There are more honors students in China than there are students in the United States. You're talking about a very deep pool of very smart people. That's thing one. Two, they've been restricted from getting all of the tools they need from the West, including specifically the kind of chips that would do the computation they need to do the advanced computation. This is a mathematical solution to a hardware problem. It's called algorithmic efficiency. They've actually written code that's more efficient than the code that's being used generally in the space throughout the world. So how did they do it? It's open source. You can see their research. They've been very good and transparent about publishing their research. They haven't exactly shown the secret sauce, but it is something that we'll be able to replicate. And by the way, the markets are reacting in a knee-jerk, and most people don't understand any of what I'm about to say to you. No one in the United States, no American, no company anywhere on earth, to be fair, is going to lay down and die because a couple of engineers figured out a better algorithm. Math is math, and engineering is engineering, and these algorithmic efficiency.
He's saying basically the Chinese are smarter. No, I mean, he's not saying the Chinese are smarter. He's just saying the truth, that there is unlimited potential in China, and unlike the unlimited potential that exists everywhere, whether it be the African continent or whether it be the Asian continent, China has been able to develop enough that they can take advantage of said unlimited potential. This is the thing that I always advocate for. This is why I advocate to improve material conditions across the board evenly in the United States of America, engage in even development. That's it. That's it. It's not, there's no secret recipe here. There's no secret sauce here. Everyone has the capacity. You have no idea what kind of hidden talents are just being cast aside because of their birthplace, okay? He's also stating that because it's so large, because China is a massive country, that there is a likelihood that there are going to be brilliant, innovative engineers there. He's also saying that the hardships that America imposed on Chinese development, because they want to stunt Chinese development, they want to stunt Chinese growth, have caused them to work more efficiently. And those hurdles have basically created the problems that America created for China in an effort to stunt their growth has led them to innovate in this regard.
Approaches will be figured out worldwide. Now, what does that mean for Nvidia's chip prices? What does that mean for nuclear power plants, for data centers? What does that mean for future data centers? The jury's still out. By the way, no one's replicated this. For all we know, this is the Sputnik moment, or this is the cyber Pearl Harbor where they faked this whole thing and it really wasn't done for $5.5 million in 2 months. We don't know. My guess is it was done for $6 million, and was done in 2 months. That's my guess. And we're all going to have to rise to the challenge. And by the way, I am confident that everybody will.
Yeah, this is the thing. We were talking about the race, the AI race, and I think this is pretty much indicative of the race that has truly just begun. As you say,
Yes.
you can crack this code. If it's a mathematical solution, then you've got people that could work on it. But you touched on something in terms of the hardware and the GPUs and Nvidia and so forth, and even what it means for electricity consumption for data centers. If what we're
Yes.
hearing from DeepSeek is in fact all factual, what does it actually mean? Does this change the calculation completely for AI?
So at the moment, it is much less expensive to run DeepSeek R1 locally than it is to, or even in the cloud, than it is to run any of the other models. So the question is not, is this better or worse? The question is, going forward, is algorithmic efficiency, this ability to run smaller models more efficiently, going to be a better path forward than the brute force massive compute models that we've used so far at OpenAI and Anthropic and at Google Gemini and at Llama, for Meta's Llama? We don't know the answer to that. Right now, it points towards two futures. One future is algorithmic efficiency. The other is brute force compute. There's no one in the world who can answer this question right now. It's all speculation. Time will tell. And as you've just said, it's very early days, which is like the beginning of the race. We're nowhere near the end of this race. We've never seen anything come this quickly. We've never seen exponential improvement that has really hit us at this speed. So it's accelerating, and we're going to all learn together. That's just the way it's going to go. And the markets are going to follow along because markets do that.
Last week, Chinese company DeepSeek shocked the world when they walked right over OpenAI's moat by releasing the open source R1 model. Not only does it beat their $200 O1 reasoning model, but it also beats Claude Sonnet and Gemini. It wins on key benchmarks, but more importantly, it passes my vibe test, along with many others on the internet, as long as you don't ask it what happened on April 15th, 1989. R1 even wins at math, which is crazy considering OpenAI had the answers in advance. Over the last few days, normies have been learning about R1, and it went viral to become the #1 app in America. This is a big problem for big tech, because in order for the grift to keep on grifting,
This is so funny. Dude, they just, I cannot begin to explain the soft power capabilities of creating a competitive commodity. Okay? Like, we are creating a generation of loyal servants of the People's Republic of China. And normally conservatives would say this is a negative. I don't care necessarily, as long as it makes people less antagonistic to foreign nations that the American government wants you to hate and consider adversaries. But it is like, it's crazy. It's crazy to think that like the Western world is so desperate for any kind of technological innovation. Like they're just excited. They don't give a shit, and people shouldn't. It makes sense. Why should you care who makes the product? This coincidentally is why Chinese EVs aren't sold in the U.S. Yeah. When is the U.S. government going to ban DeepSeek because it's actually a Chinese propaganda app and they're going to force it to be sold to Elon Musk? Yeah. The fact that this is open source is exactly why this is going to be disruptive. Exploring this technology could be a benefit to humanity. As a security professional, the fact that it's open source makes me hopeful it will overturn monopolies in the space. I think that's why they released it as open source. Like for a multitude of different reasons. I suspect like part of it is because they wanted to disrupt, the Western monopolies that were going to be implemented in this sphere. Because these guys, what do capitals always do? Enclosures. Okay, what do they always do? Enclosures. Whether it be enclosures upon the land and the process of land lordship, I guess, lordship over the land, or whether it be digital enclosures, because enclosures are how you generate profits. The enclosures, the fences that you create around things, whether it's a tangible thing that you can see and consume and touch, or whether it be something like data and intellectual property, which is another form of safeguarding and gatekeeping, and another form of enclosure. It's always done at the behest of profit. Okay? You're creating artificial scarcity in an effort to be the gatekeepers, in an effort to say, we are the only people that have this. And when you generate a product, which I love open source, as you guys know, something that I talk about quite frequently. I don't use Linux because it's too complicated. But OBS, I use OBS. It is so important. If OBS didn't exist, there would be so much less live streaming in general. Maybe some of you will say, oh, it's great. It should be great. But it's open source. It's open source software. It's incredibly important. And all these other companies literally use it. Okay. I guess I do use Linux because I have a Steam Deck and I love my Steam Deck. But my point is, especially in the Twitch sphere, we use a lot of open source software. Like collaboration through open source is how you make better art, how you make better products, how you make better things in general. I love it. I think it's amazing. You know who hates it though? These fucking douchebags on screen. They hate that shit. They ironically donate to OBS, okay? Because they use it. Because they later down the line will add additional things on top of OBS and then basically create their own version of the same product with extra services placed on top of it, where they actually end up, charging you money for it. But they rely on open source for innovation. Okay? So especially for AI's infancy, I think open source is really important because this entire model relies on unlimited amounts of data. So the more data you put into it, the better you can train it, right? As long as you have proper safeguards, I guess, on like what kind of data and proper safeguards on the interpretation of the data. So that's it. There's not a market on earth not ran by open source. Important doesn't scratch the surface. Yeah, it's not important. It's vital. It's a necessity. So I think it's good for the future of AI in general, but it's also good because this being an open source product is good for the future of AI in general because it offers additional training capabilities. It's good also because this is very, very disruptive to the tech monopolists. It ruins Trump's entire agenda around tech. Like literally overnight, they were able to just say, yeah, nope. Oh, you're going to donate, you're going to do $500 billion. You're going to give $500 billion to these charlatans? Here, we did it for way less. There you go. And now everyone can have it for free.
Artificial intelligence needs to be hard and take thousands of GPUs to pull off, but DeepSeek R1 cost less than $10 million and was actually the side project of a hedge fund where their only goal is to create long-term social value. Wall Street is terrified and Nvidia stock is in for a bloodbath today. Nvidia has been the primary beneficiary of the AI boom, but the whole bubble just got one-shotted by a brutal reality check. In today's video, we'll find out how DeepSeek just changed the course of history. It is January 27th, 2025, and you're watching The Code Report. Big tech is literally shaking right now. Sam Altman coped with a dramatic tweet. A revolution can neither be made nor stopped. The only thing that can be done is for one of several of its children to give it direction by dint of victories. I'm not sure if that's Napoleon Dynamite or Napoleon Bonaparte, but the funny thing is he damn near got ratioed by someone with an anime profile picture that said, "It's not that deep, bro, just release a better model." In addition, to try to remain competitive with DeepSeek, OpenAI is also offering its O1 mini model to free users. But that's not all. They also released a new thing called Operator, which gives AI access to a browser and allows it to click on buttons and fill out forms on your behalf, which is a game changer because that means you can have ChatGPT go attend your court-appointed DUI courses or anything else you might have to do online. In the future, humans will no longer need websites or UIs, only APIs that can interact with the AIs. Operator is currently only available to people on the $200 plan, and overall it gets pretty mixed reviews. That's cool and all, but the Chinese are really crushing it right now. DeepSeek is one thing, but they also released this thing called Hunyuan 3D, which can generate 3D meshes and textures, and that's huge for people like me who have spent years failing to get good at Blender. But the crazy thing about DeepSeek is that it was just a side project that cost very little money to produce. Even Mark Andreessen called it one of the most amazing and impressive breakthroughs he's ever seen, a profound gift to the world. And because of that, the stock market is panicking and just wiped out nearly $1 trillion in value, with Nvidia being the biggest loser, followed by other chip companies like Taiwan Semiconductor and Broadcom. You see, Nvidia's had basically a monopoly on AI training for the last decade because they have better Linux drivers than AMD, and all the machine learning algorithms are optimized for libraries like CUDA, which is...
This video is from Fireship. They make banger videos. Highly recommend it.
proprietary and can only run on Nvidia GPUs. And they have the infrastructure to connect all these GPUs together at scale. As AI models get bigger and more popular, so do the profits of Nvidia. But someone got DeepSeek running on a few Apple M2 Ultras, and that's the 680 billion parameter top of the line model. And that's terrifying if you're a tech investor pouring billions of dollars into AI, because if the best state-of-the-art model can operate on relatively cheap consumer hardware, and it's free and open source and developed in China, how are we going to make any mother effing money? People are calling this the Sputnik moment. When Russia launched...
Yeah, here's the thing. This should be your primary takeaway, chat. Okay? This, if nothing else, this should be your primary takeaway from this story, which is that a massive technological leap in terms of efficiency for an existing product in the West is considered devastating. Why is it considered devastating? Because it's, one, produced in a cheaper fashion and also released for free. Like, this is an inherent contradiction under capitalism, and recognizing this should be a radicalizing moment for a lot of people. Like, what? Imagine, like, the invention of the wheel, okay? And then immediately people going, oh, we got to monetize this, okay? And then there's a newer version of it, and people go, oh, no. Like, this is devastating. This is really going to cook our patent on the OG version of the stone wheel, you know? It's messed up. This is really going to stifle. This new innovative product is really going to stifle our market dominance. Like, what are you talking about, man? The fuck do you mean? For the average person just goes, hey, man, put the new generative AI model in the bag, bro, and they move on. For the average person, they're like, oh, that's a new, cooler product. I love that. Sorry, not as vested in your profits, you know? I'm not so interested in how many billions of dollars in profit you were going to generate out of this digital enclosure you're going to place upon this. I'm going to do the free thing that is competitive, you know? Put the fucking semiconductors in the bag, okay? Put the new generative AI model in the bag. Shut the fuck up. Hey, how about you learn to code, Sam Altman? Get a job. Get a job, Sam.
First artificial satellite into space in 1957. The United States was shocked at the time, and it took over a decade to make a comeback when America made its pinnacle achievement of filming a man on the moon in Nevada. That's a joke.
Anyway, all jokes aside, I do still maintain the same position. I still maintain the position that, like, AI in general, at least at this stage, is just like a mechanism of labor displacement, and that a competent government should create safeguards against that sort of thing to ensure that the new wave of technological efficiency, okay, that will create productivity for the existing labor force, companies should not use this as an opportunity to displace its labor force. Of course, we do not live in a competent government, okay? We do not live under the rulership of a competent government. For reference, my 4070 Ti 16 gig VRAM barely pulls 200 watts when using DeepSeek R1, and it only utilizes 10 gigs of VRAM. There's literally no point on buying the new RTX 5090 unless gaming. RTX 5070 549 will come with 12 gigs of VRAM.
And even the smartest technology in the world, DeepSeek, believes in the moon landings. We had a good run on this AI hype train, but now it's time to move on. I'm looking forward to brain chips, quantum computers, artificial meat printers, nano robots, digital resurrection, and all kinds of other tech that will make the world a better place. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is... AI boom had been dominated by Silicon Valley's tech titans.
With the launch of GPT-4, still the most capable model out in the world.
But is this still the case?
Oops. You know, sometimes you just put this incredible seminar on, and in a short period of time, all of a sudden, your world comes crumbling down. It's just, yeah, life comes at you fast. You never know. Yeah. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone. That's all I'm saying.
Germany on AI now appears to be over. now that China has released its own powerful model built at a fraction of the price, causing horror on the market.
You're seeing markets being absolutely eviscerated on news from a company most people have never even heard of. It's not deep fake, it's deep.
What's with the story that you posted with North Korea? Are we cooked? What story that I posted with North Korea?
Seek.
Let's talk about DeepSeek because it is mind-blowing and it is shaking this entire industry to its core.
The man behind DeepSeek met the Chinese premier last week. Liang Wenfen is a hedge fund boss who built DeepSeek as a side hustle. Whilst US tech billionaires committed trillions to AI, DeepSeek cost just $5 million. And this is how. These chips made by Nvidia power large language models like ChatGPT. One can cost up to $40,000, and a single model may use hundreds of thousands. These chips were so important that President Biden banned their export to China.
The future of the chip industry is going to be made in America.
Yet DeepSeek found a way to build their software using far cheaper chips.
Without the CHIPS Act that prevented China from having the cutting-edge chips, we probably wouldn't see DeepSeek today. We've got caught up in this notion that basically cash is king and that brute force matters. And so in a lot of the debates around AI, it's been...
I disagree with this. I think that, yes, these hurdles forced the hand of China to like look for alternatives that are cheaper and more efficient. But that simply to me means that if unburdened and unrestricted by by the American State Department, we could probably see even more bountiful innovations in the sector of tech, which of course is beneficial for mankind in the long run. And not just for AI, by the way, which is like probably one of the, at least in this stage and in the short term, will most likely have some negative consequences. But overall, this to me shows that any kind of restriction applied in this regard for, at the behest of American capital, is unironically stunting innovation for the entirety of mankind. But Hassan, techno companies are whomst no open source discourse better. They know how this works. I don't think technos are scared, just the ignorant investors. What? Listen, I am not the most knowledgeable in the VC funded Silicon Valley tech sphere. Okay? All I'm going to say is this. I think most people that have worked on AI that don't have like competitive products to ChatGPT or are like trying to sell you something, most people that have worked in AI will say that the level of development, at least what I've heard from people who worked on AI, is that it is nowhere near the level of competence that people who have something to sell you claim it's at. Like, I don't think the people in the tech, I think the people in the tech sector want to farm as much funds out of investors as possible in the interim before the bubble bursts, and this accelerated that bubble bursting. So it's not just like scared investors, it's not scared money. It's more so that these guys made it seem like only they had the keys to the castle, and that the castle in and of itself is very scary, and they are the only responsible people, and they need like $700 gazillion in order to maintain it and in order to develop it, and that it's one day going to dominate the planet and control everything and all aspects of our lives, and it must be in the hands of responsible rulership. I mean, here's another example of this. Sam Altman telling us exactly what I've been saying here.
Sam, can you just going to startups? I mean, as you know, we've got a very vibrant startup ecosystem in India. Specifically focused on AI, are there spaces where you see, let's say, a startup from India building? You can build on the models, be it ChatGPT and many others. But if you want to build foundational models, how should we think about that? Where is it that a team from India, 3 super smart engineers with, not 100 million, but let's say 10 million, could actually build something truly substantial?
Look, the way this works is we're going to tell you it's totally hopeless to compete with us on training foundation models. You shouldn't try, and it's your job to try anyway. And I believe both of those things. I think it is pretty hopeless, but
yeah, it's totally hopeless to compete with us on training foundation models, and you shouldn't try. He said you should still try. I mean, he said, I think it's pretty hopeless. Like, I think your takeaway, your takeaway from that is supposed to be, don't even, it's a foolish endeavor. This is the other thing that I wanted to show you. Oh, not this. We're rewriting the social contract. Like, I think a lot of people take advantage of the stupidity of the layman, myself included. I'm a stupid guy. I don't fully understand this stuff. I am maybe a little bit more of a Luddite and a little bit more of a skeptic than the average person. But they utilize the lack of technological prowess that the average person has to basically engage in myth making around this product that they are creating. Right? I want to see that video where he's talking about like undermining the social contract or rewriting it or whatever. Where is it? Here it is.
Still,
like, this is a crazy take.
Expect, although I don't know what, and this is over a long period of time. This is not a like next year or, you know, the year after that kind of thing. But over a long period of time, I still expect that there will be some change required to the social contract, given how powerful we expect this technology to be. I'm not a believer that there won't be any jobs. I think we always find new things to do.
The big market reaction today is Nvidia stock tanking. This DeepSeek stuff has no bearing on the quality of Nvidia hardware. This is a huge blow to OpenAI and other similar US AI products. The first thing that people in the US should be doing is trying to run with this AI model of Nvidia's latest and greatest. The rest of your analysis is correct, in my opinion. The US tech industry has been over-promising and under-delivering. Yeah. No, that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that, like, they were able to do this. They were able to maintain this presence for as long as they could. And engage in myth making surrounding this product, and I think they bit more than they could chew over and over again, and they would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for these pesky Chinese kids. You know what I mean? The American government was like, "Listen, tricks are for kids, not for rabbits." Okay, these tiny chips, not tricks. These chips are for American kids, not for Chinese rabbits. That's what they said. And that created a level of safety and security in the minds of a lot of these tech sector people who thought, yeah, we can continue dominating.
I do think like the whole structure of society itself will, you know, be up for some degree of debate and reconfiguration.
This is what Hasanabi's been yelling about for years. China's unwavering method of investing on its children and their education is finally paying off. They invested through the hardship decades ago, and now children of China who are super educated just keep handing their country win after win in the most important sectors. Defund ICE and fund the schools. What the fuck are we doing here in America? I think Orientalism is going to snap back in the opposite direction. That's my here's a prediction for you. I think our Orientalist approach is going to snap back in the opposite direction, where people start thinking that like Chinese people are mythical beings, supercharged with thousands of years of Confucianism. And that's the only reason why they're so good at creating innovative products, and that it's simply a cultural thing, the emphasis that they place on education, and it's totally immaterial. It has nothing to do with the fact that, you know, they invest a tremendous amount to education and try to abide by some semblance of the meritocratic standard. Now, there's truth to the historical importance placed upon education in China. Even in the past, the greatest jobs that were given to every single person, that was open for virtually every single person, you could make your way through the education structure and go work for the emperor. And in a similar vein, now the ownership of the emperor structure has changed into the single party Communist Party of China. In that exact same vein. So the exam system still exists to a certain degree, and there's still a lot of emphasis on making sure that the best, hardest working person is tasked with these very important jobs. And there's still also a decent amount of nepotism as well. Okay. But ultimately, if you don't create the underlying material basis and consistently build up that foundation by investing back into public education and try to broaden it to the best of your ability. And no, it's not a real meritocracy. It's virtually impossible to maintain a real meritocracy. Okay? We are not robots. We're still human beings. We're imperfect vessels at the end of the day. My point is, the closer you get to a true meritocracy, the more bountiful that will be for you. Okay? In America, the rags the riches story is just that, a story about luck and maybe some perseverance over hardships as well, but still luck overall. Do you understand? Instead of using that as a marketing tool for American capitalism being innovative and bountiful, what we should do is try to focus on making sure that any random kid growing up in any part of the United States of America has the same opportunity to go to the best schools and is not actually held back due to their material circumstances. But instead of recognizing that reality, I think Americans will just go, nah, these Chinese are just like mystical beings, and that's why they were able to dominate this hard. So we mustn't invest or expand in public. We mustn't invest or expand public education. We must not do that. That's not the reason. We should still maintain this weird for-profit structure for education and actually destroy the K through 12 education structure even further and turn it into the college system, which everyone knows is awful. More charter schools for me, please. Gonna tell my parents the Chinese are mystical at dinner tonight. Wish me luck. Good luck, chatter. Godspeed. Godspeed, soldier. Yeah, we're over here talking about abolishing the Department of Education. And you know, the Chinese are running tricks. They're running laps on us. Fantastic stuff. Hey, this shouldn't be a wake-up call for anybody, okay? Trump is live now.
Hunting down and arresting hundreds of illegal alien criminals per day, including those with charges.
Yeah, this is what we're invested in, dude. This is what we're investing in, okay? Sick.
Many of these murderers have committed far more than one murder. This is not going to work out, and we're going to get them the hell out of here. And members of the savage Venezuelan prison gang known as Tren de Agua and MS-13, including 50 violent individuals who were rounded up in Aurora, Colorado, which the Venezuelan gang took over. The governor, who's a radical left governor, was petrified. He didn't know what to do. He said, no, it's not that bad. They've only taken over a couple of apartment houses. See, they went into the real estate business. They did it unconventionally. They did it with guns. We have to go out and borrow or use cash to buy. They just did it with guns. They took over. He said, no, it's not that bad. They only took over a couple of buildings. We're tracking down the illegal alien criminals. We're detaining them, and we are throwing them the hell out of our country. We have no apologies, and we're moving forward very fast. They're very dangerous people. They're very dangerous people. They're violent people. I used to say these are more violent than our criminals. In fact, the best part about them is they make our criminals look quite nice, actually, by comparison. They are very violent people. We also have many violent criminals in our country, however, that did not necessarily come here illegally, but have been arrested 30 times, 35 times, 41, 42 times in a couple of cases, 25 times, 18 times, many for murder and other heinous charges such as pushing people into subways. As the train's coming along at 45 miles an hour, boom, you get pushed into the subway. They had it last week. Hitting them in the head with baseball bats while they're not looking, punching old ladies in the face, knocking them unconscious and stealing their purse. They even break into apartments and rape elderly women and beat up elderly men, beat them to hell. And I don't want these violent repeat offenders in our country any more than I want illegal aliens from other countries who misbehave. And I say, and this is subject to getting it approved, but if they've been arrested many, many times, they're repeat offenders by many numbers, I want them out of our country. I also will be seeking permission to do so. We're going to get approval, hopefully, to get them the hell out of our country along with others. Let them be brought to a foreign land and maintained by others for a very small fee as opposed to be maintained in our jails for massive amounts of money, including the private prison companies that charge us a fortune. Now, let them be brought out of our country and let them live there for a while. Let's see how they like it. You'll see crime all over the country dry up. Essentially, that's what Venezuela and other countries are doing. They're getting rid of their criminals and putting them into the United States of America. And their crime is down by almost 80%. We're going to restore law and order in America, and we want to bring back the death penalty for these horrible people that kill people They kill people. It's always a tough thing to say because I don't like it. Nobody likes it. But if you don't do it, we're just looking for trouble. I spent a lot of time with President Xi, and I'll never forget in my first meeting, I said, do you have a drug problem? No, we have no drug problem. Why is that? Quick trial. What is quick trial? Quick trial is we try the person that sells the drugs immediately, and at the end of the day, we execute that person if that person is guilty. We have no drug problem whatsoever, and that's the most severe case. But wherever you have no drug problem, you have the death penalty. So, and drugs causes a lot of the crime. A lot of the crime in our country is caused by drugs. It's a terrible situation. Comes through the southern border. Most of it is fentanyl coming in from China. And, you know, it's very interesting. China, when I was with President Xi, I had a deal worked out with him that they were going to give their maximum punishment, which is the death penalty, to anybody making fentanyl and sending it into the United States. Then we had a very unusual result in an election. We had a rigged election. We had a very unusual result, and that went nowhere. It was all set to be, he would have absolutely done it. He was ready. We shook hands on it, and then Biden, of course, didn't follow it up. He didn't follow anything up. But if that would have happened, you would have had a lot less fentanyl deaths, I can tell you. You would have had very little fentanyl coming into the southern border.
Shit.
Last week, I also signed an order that will designate the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. That's a very big designation. And as we are fighting hard to get birthright citizenship or automatic citizenship for the children of illegal aliens, that's another way. It's automatic citizenship for children of illegal aliens. That's the other term that they use, which is actually more accurate, more understandable. And it's ridiculous. We're the only country that has it, and certainly the only country that has it to that extent. And it wasn't meant, if you look, it was really meant for children of slaves. This is when it happened. The children of slaves, it was not meant for everyone to come into our country by airplane or charging across the borders from all over the world and think they're going to become citizens. It's not meant for that. It wasn't meant for that. And hopefully at some point the courts will understand that without having to go through a whole big deal. This was meant for the children of slaves. And look at the timing of it, and you'll see. And I hope judges will understand that. And it has to stop, because it's really hurting our country very badly. In the coming weeks, I'm looking forward to working with Congress on a reconciliation bill that financially takes care of our plans to totally and permanently restore the sovereign borders of the United States once and for all. This should include full funding for a record increase in border security personnel and retention bonuses for ICE and Border Patrol. These people are incredible people. I got to know them so well. I was on the phone with them all the time when I was president. When she was the border czar, she never called them. Remember? We went like 4 years and they started asking her, did you ever speak to him? No. We asked the Border Patrol, did you ever speak to the head of the Border Patrol? Did you ever speak to the vice president who was your border czar? No, I never got to speak to her. This was a terrible thing that was going on. This was a con job. We also need a massive increase in the number of detention beds and funding for all border security infrastructure and barriers, including completion of the border wall. We did 500 miles of wall, and that's one of the reasons we had the lowest number. You remember the famous chart that I looked to my right, bring down the chart, and I looked to my right, something went right by he. But that chart, I don't know if they have it now, frankly. I didn't tell them to bring it. But they're very competent people. They might. If you have the chart, put it up. If you don't, that's okay too. But that chart showed that we had the lowest number of illegals coming into our country in history. And I love the chart. Even if it didn't show that, I would have loved that chart. Because that chart, I wouldn't be here right now without that particular chart. But it was pretty amazing. It was really amazing. And we did a great job. We had the week I left office, we had the lowest number of illegal immigrants coming into our country that we ever had. Simultaneously, we must make a record investment in interior enforcement, including deportation flights and aircraft, as well as funding for our new task force to eradicate the presence of foreign gangs. We have some of the worst foreign gangs. It's not even believable. And criminal networks that have brought devastating crime to American soil. We're getting them all out. We're getting them all out. I won on that, it's like some people explain it very well. They say, gee whiz, they look at the people. As you know, in Colombia, they agreed with us almost immediately after I got involved. And Marco Rubio and I worked together. He did a great job. and we really did. And Mike Waltz, we have a great group of people, but we were being scolded because we had them in shackles in an airplane, and he said, "This is no way to treat people." Now, you got to understand, these are murderers, drug lords, gang members, just the toughest people you've ever met or seen. How would you like to be the pilot of a plane? You got two pilots up there, and you got 300 people sitting in a plane, every one of them either a murderer, a drug lord, a kingpin of some kind, the head of the mob, or a gang member. And you're flying that plane, it's not going to end well. Do you ever see the movie Con Air? That's what, yeah, except here's the difference. The people in Con Air were actors. They weren't nearly as tough as these guys. I would say that that plane would be gone before it ever left. Those pilots would be gone before it ever left. So they don't want us to shackle them. I don't want to be in that plane. I want to thank every Republican House member for voting to pass the Lake and Riley Act, first enforcement only bill that's been passed in 3 decades. I met the parents of Laken, and they were incredible people. They were just so devastated. I mean, can't even explain to you. You can't say somebody's life is over, but essentially their life is so different, and it can never be the same. She was beautiful. She was great, great person. But to have a bill of such importance named after her is a great tribute. But what these parents, and you know, you have so many of them, where they've lost a loved one to crime, but to this new form of crime, criminal illegal aliens. It's massive. The numbers are massive, and you add that to the crime we already had. This shows the potential for additional enforcement bills that will help us crack down on criminal aliens and totally restore the rule of law in our country. I'm also eager to get to work with Congress on the largest package of tax cuts and reforms in American history. We got to get that done. And we don't want to get hung up on the budget process. We just want, whether it's one bill, 2 bills, I don't care. Let these guys, they're going to work it out. They're going to work it out one way or the other. But the bottom line, the end result is going to be the same. We want to have all of those benefits. And we want to keep people's taxes low and actually make them lower. And that's not just rich people, that's everybody. It's frankly, proportionately the lower scale, much more so than a higher scale. Not only must we permanently extend the Trump tax cuts, you know, if we don't, you're going to have about a 60% tax increase. But I also intend to keep my promises, starting with no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtime. We're working very hard to get them done, and we are. I went to Nevada just this last couple of days. Started off in North Carolina because I didn't want to forget the people of North Carolina were treated so badly by FEMA. And they came to me, they said, "Sir, you're going to California tomorrow." I said, "Well, what about North Carolina?" "Well, we'll do that another time." And I said, "No, we won't. I'm stopping in North Carolina first." And we stopped there. We met great people. Franklin Graham has done a fantastic job. He's done a great job, but others also. And I met people that were devastated. The Democrat Party with FEMA, their FEMA did absolutely nothing. And we have that worked out. Your congressmen are helping very much there. Your 3 Congress people are working very hard on that whole thing, along with Michael Whatley. And Laura wants to be involved too. Laura Trump, she's doing great jobs. She's done a great. Michael and Laura have been unbelievable as the head of the RNC. They've been unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know why I picked Michael? I said, who ran North Carolina? Tell me. Because in the 2016 election, we did so well. And then in 2020, we did great in North Carolina. But others, we watched, wah, ping, wah, ping. What the hell's going on? But with North Carolina, when he had 600 lawyers, 601 lawyers working for him, and they didn't play games in North Carolina, I said, that's the guy I want to run it. And Michael Whatley has done an unbelievable job, and he worked with Laura so well. She comes from that state, from North Carolina. They've done such an incredible job. So thank you very much. I want to just thank you in front of leadership. Incredible. And I really don't want to give him another job, to be honest. That's the most important job. He said, "Sir, I'll go anywhere." I said, "I don't want you to go anywhere. I want you to stay where you are. We'll give you plenty of money to get the job done, right? But we don't want to lose it." I mean, he could do anything, actually, but he's a very talented person. There's nothing more important because we have to win in 2 years or we have to win in 4 years. There's nobody better to head it up. So thank you very much, Michael, and really stand up. We're just an incredible job. Really amazing. I wanted to save that for leadership, because I say it all the time. People don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but leadership knows what I'm talking about. And it's really incredible. The two of you as a team are unbelievable. Our administration will also be working to implement the Make It in America plan that I outlined very successfully in my campaign. You know, I think my campaign, I really focused on the border more than anything else. A lot of people said the biggest thing was inflation and the economy, and then maybe the border was third. I always felt the border was first, because I felt that people could really understand that you can't have people pouring in from the prisons all over the world and from mental institutions all over the world and dumped into our country. So I talked about that much more so than I did inflation. I mean, inflation was terrible. It was the worst. I think it was the worst in the history of our country. But you can only talk about it so long. You know, the price of apples doubled. The price of bacon is quadrupled. The price, everything is a disaster. And you say it, and then what do you do? With this, I could give examples of what they're doing to destroy our country. And I felt it was the strongest thing. You know, it's funny. In 2016, I won on the border. In 2020, we did so well, I couldn't talk about the border. My people would say, sir, don't bring up the border. Nobody wants to hear it. I said, no, I did a great job. It was a horrible border in 2016, but that border was beautiful compared to what we have now. So I didn't talk about it, and we did great. I mean, look, I got millions of more votes in 2020 than I got in 2016. Nobody ever got the most votes of any Republican in history in 2020. But this time I said, let's make it too big to rig. We're going to make it too big to rig, and that's what happened, and they couldn't. They tried. They tried, these cheating guys, these cheating people, but they tried, but they gave up. I brought taxes down from 40% to 21%, which everybody said was impossible, and I did it with these people up here and a lot of the people there. A great congressman. I want to name every one of them, but I'd be naming them all night. I'm looking at them. Look at all these people. They're great. They're so great, Russell and you, and every single Virginia. Look at Virginia. She's a killer. Nobody would know she's a killer. But I got all these congressmen. I want to name every one of them, but I got like 100 and something things. People would say, let's get the hell out of here. This is getting very boring, right? But I will tell you, as a group and individually, they're incredible people. Every one of them I like, although every once in a while, if somebody votes against me, I don't like him for a little while. But we like every one of them. And this guy has the ability to get along with everybody, which he has to when you have a majority of really 5. You know, they say 1, but it will be. But right now it's 1. I want to make him sound a little bit. But he has an ability to get along with people, and he's very smart, very tough. But everyone likes him because he's a high-quality person, very religious person, and he's a high-quality person. You know, we have other guys here, and I know that everybody likes them, but they're like one of them in particular. I love this guy so much. I won't name him because I don't want to embarrass him, but I don't know if he'd be happy or not happy, but he's very, very strong, very, very popular, but he has 36 people that won't vote for him. It's 36. That's not a lot. That's a small percentage. Tom is incredible, but Tom has a couple of people that probably have been beaten badly and beat up some people badly, and it's a little tougher. But he's done an unbelievable job. I've become friendly with him. I didn't really know him, and over the last year or so, I've become friendly. He's incredible. He's an incredible leader. You really are. But you have a couple of people that maybe more than one. Let me put it that way. They all love him. Your wife loves you. That I can tell you. He's got a great. Where are you? Where are you? Stand up, please. Just stand up. Come on. What a great wife and family. It's true. Thank you. She is a great. Look at her. She's very popular, isn't she? Huh? She's great. More than you. You're very popular. And now I'm bringing them down. I'm bringing the taxes down from 21 to 15%, but only if they make their product in America. So if they make their product in America, we're bringing it down. So if you think about it, we took it down from 40 to 15%. But again, you keep 21, but you go down to 15 if you make your product here. We are going to have so many business moving back into our country. And remember, again, the word tariff. We're going to protect our people and our businesses, and we're going to protect our country with tariffs. And you got a little indication of that yesterday with what happened with a very strong country. Colombia is traditionally a very, very strong-willed country. If they don't make their product in America, then very simply they should have to pay a tariff, which will bring in trillions of dollars into our treasury from countries that never paid us 10 cents. We're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let them destroy our country. In the words of President McKinley, who is the tariff king, the protective system invokes the highest law of nature, that a self-preservation, and that is self-preservation. There is every reason founded in justice why the American producer should in every way be favored against a foreign producer whose products compete with his. This is our natural market. We have made it. We have made it an enormous cost, capital, and exertion. And think of this. And we did that through exertion and brain and muscle and guts and stamina. We preserved it against foreign wars and domestic conflicts at great sacrifice of men and women. The foreign producer has contributed nothing to the growth or development of this country. So if you want to share with the citizens of the United States our home market, then you must pay for the privilege of doing it. In other words, you have to pay for the privilege of coming into our country, taking our jobs, taking our product, destroying our countries. We mentioned North Carolina, the furniture business, what they've done to these great artisans. I used to go down to North Carolina all the time to buy furniture for hotels that I was building, and they had the most incredible artisans. That whole thing was wiped out by China mostly, but others.
Stop complaining.
And just wiped out, but it's going to come back. It's going to come roaring back. It's all going to come roaring back. We're going to put tariffs on.
Stop complaining. We just realized that the place that we're supposed to be going to,
that really mean us
we just
harm.
realized the
They
place
want
we're going to is
they mean
actually
us harm,
hella
but they
far.
basically-
So in a panic moment, I had to like wake the entire crew up. Will still has not responded, so I don't even know if he is up. So I have to call him real quick. Okay, but we have to leave. We have to leave earlier than I thought we were supposed to. Okay, and the speech is not torture. That's your goddamn president talking. Okay, it's the golden age, as Asmongold says. It's more like the Asmon golden age, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, we're gonna do samurai training in a little bit, so fear not, it's happening.
Never before. Do you know the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money, and that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913.
I like that he
said
says
in
like
my
tariffs yield a tremendous bounty for America, while simultaneously talking about Colombia and justifying justifying his usage on it with Colombia, even though the Colombia situation had nothing to do with like American trade whatsoever and everything to do with political enforcement. Like, he wanted to send in military. He wanted to send in Colombian nationals on military carriers in a way that is like very disrespectful. And these guys who have previously taken in Colombian nationals that have been deported from the United States of America were like, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to do this in a dignified way. Not every single one of these people are like horrible criminals or whatever. You're disrespectful. And Trump was like, yeah, I'm going to do tariffs then. I'm going to do so many tariffs. And then everybody celebrated how Colombia folded like a piece of tissue paper, blah, 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 blah. Turns out, no, it's just a way for him to like bully other countries once again. That's it. That's all he's doing. But he's like also trying to justify it by being like, it's going to be tremendous economics. Well, let me tell you what tremendous economics looks like, okay? Number one, the very same Republicans that unironically voted for Donald Trump because they claimed that he was going to lower the price of eggs are now going to turn around and say higher prices is actually patriotic. Okay? I'm just letting you know what I feel is happening with the vibe shift. I think the MAGA people that initially were like, oh, we're voting for Donald Trump because he's lowering egg prices. Brandon made the economy so bad. Fuck you. Are going to literally say it's actually patriotic that the cost of goods are going up because there is a higher purpose here that Donald Trump is serving, which is to make America great again, make America white again. Okay? That's it. I'm telling you right now, the very same, like, we're voting for this guy because he's going to fix the economy, are going to understandably experience the demise of said economy in the hands of the tariff czar over here. And they're going to turn around and say, well, he's making America great again. But, you know, it's most doctoral Keynesian economists cannot pass basic level math course. He's just going to turn around. They're all going to turn around and say, oh, things are more expensive, libtard, because America's a wider nation now. Fuck you.
And I met him backstage. I said, John, let me ask you, what happened?
There's no way they're that
plant?
dumb.
Where
Come on, Hassan.
He said,
Mark my words. Mark my words. Well, there it is. Okay, it happened even before I suspected. It happened earlier than I suspected. Democrats are worried about the price of coffee. Republicans are worried about American lives. We are not the same. I'll drink water all day if it makes for a better America. Y'all don't understand the mania, dude. Y'all don't understand the stupidity, the endless well of stupidity that is the American reactionary political movement. Okay? Come on, dude. One guy on Twitter, just wait. Just wait. If you think MAGA voters ain't that dumb, you're wrong.
Pharmaceuticals to return production of these essential goods to the United States.
You're
of
wrong,
America.
son.
They left us and they went to Taiwan, which is about 98% of the chip business, by the way. And we want them to come back. And we don't want to give them billions of dollars like this ridiculous program that Biden has. Give everybody billions of dollars. They already have billions of dollars. They've got nothing but money, Joe. They didn't need money. They needed an incentive. And the incentive is going to be they're not going to want to pay a 25, 50, or even 100% tax. They're going to build their factory with their own money. We don't have to give them money. They're going to come in because it's good for them to come in. They're giving them money. They don't even know what they're going to do with it. I had people tell me, we have no idea. We didn't need money. They don't know if they're probably going to use the money to build in other places, other countries. It's a ridiculous plan, very expensive and ridiculous. The only way you'll get out of this is to build your plant. If you want to stop paying the taxes or the tariffs, you have to build your plant right here in America. That's what's going to happen at record levels. We're going to have more plants built in the next short period of time than anybody ever envisioned before, because the incentive is going to be there, because they have no tariff whatsoever. In fact, they have help from us if they build their plant in America. And we're going to look at pharmaceuticals, drugs. We're going to look at chips, semiconductors, and we're going to look at steel and some other industries. And you're going to see things happening. If I didn't put on the massive steel tariffs, you wouldn't have one steel plant right now in the United States. If I didn't put on the tariffs.
Why do people keep saying check Asmongold Twitter? We're watching Asmongold's favorite politician right now. What is this? Guys, I'm excited to announce my very own official token. The best is yet to come. Join us and let the memes begin. No. Hacked. Hey, Asmon is hacked. I'm with him IRL now. Please ignore this. No shot. Yeah, no, it's got to be hacked. This is no way. There ain't no way he launched a shit coin. He's hacked. He's 100%. That's correct. That is a new. No. This is like new levels of low. There's no way. Nah. His bio is professional neckbeard. That's always been the case, I think. You think S-Fan is lying or something? No, I totally believe S-Fan. I don't think this is. There's a clip of Miz calling him. He's hacked. Yeah, no shot, brothers. People were trading it 7 hours ago. Dude, that's so funny. Yeah, this is the new. This is what the American economy looks like right now. Okay, China's over here pooping on us. Okay, China's over here farting on us, making innovative product at a fraction of the price. Okay, that is infinitely more efficient. That completely disrupts the American market. And in the United States of America, our most brilliant innovators are too busy hacking Twitter accounts and YouTube pages to market their own shitty crypto memes. I mean, shitty crypto coins, meme coins. Great stuff overall. Okay, we are so cooked, folks.
You cannot touch that land. I look at the land. Looks like every other piece of land. What is it? Well, this is very protected. They have no idea what they're doing to our country. They use the environment to stop progress, so we're not going to let that happen. We have Lee Zeldin. I don't know if Lee's here today, but Lee Zeldin is going to be fantastic. He's going to head up the whole environmental. And I said, Lee, if we have we put in for a power plant, and if we don't get the approval, like that you can start within 12 days. One day would be even better, but 12 days, 14 days.
Brother, we had the president do a shitty crypto coin. So it's not, China may have jumped ahead of us in AI with the launch of DeepSeek, but they can't touch us when it comes to meme coins. We got that lucrative market cornered. We're number one. And that's funny. I mean, it's true. It's true. Here's the Miskiv clip.
Let me call him again.
This man knows Elon Musk personally. That is crazy to me.
Boys.
Yeah. Okay. I'll figure it out.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay. He knows.
Yeah, there it is. There it is, dude. I mean, no shot. Like, look, I love making cracks, making jokes, you know, at the expense of Asmongold, especially since he's the newest and now the freshly minted largest political commentator on the platform. But there's no way. Like, I'm happy to be vindicated instantly on this one. Many people, there you go. It's gone. People. Sometimes you have to remember, if something sounds too good and it corresponds to your worldview, you got to exercise a little bit of critical thinking and try to figure out if this is like something he truly would do or not. Okay. They faked the hack. Huge scandal. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I love the people who are like doubling down on it though and going, nah, you don't understand. The hack was faked. He just did the rug pull already. No, I already invested. All my apes gone. All my apes gone.
The best, not just being the most woken. Today and over the last couple of days, I've been reading about China and some of the companies in China, one in particular, coming up with a faster method of AI and much less expensive method. And that's good because you don't have to spend this much money. I view that as a positive, as an asset.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Really
JD Pondon.
If it's fact,
JD
and if it's
Pondon.
true.
JD Pondon.
But I view that as a positive because you'll be doing that too. So you won't be spending as much and you'll get the same result.
JD Pondon. JD
The release
Pondon.
of
It's real. It's real. It's
AI
real. It's not a
from
meme. JD
a
Pondon
Chinese
is real.
company should be a wake-up call for our industries that we need to be laser focused on competing to win because we have the greatest scientists in the world. Even Chinese leadership told me that. They said you have the most brilliant scientists in the world in Seattle and various places. But Silicon Valley, they said, there's nobody like those people. This is very unusual when you hear a DeepSeek, when you hear somebody come up with something. We always have the ideas. We're always first. So I would say that's a positive. That could be very much a positive development. So instead of spending billions and billions, you'll spend less and you'll come up with, hopefully, the same solution. Under the Trump administration, we're going to unleash our tech companies and we're going to dominate the future like never before. And finally, we need to work together on a defense bill that once again fully rebuilds our military for our great warriors. We have to have a strong defense.
If this
And
motherfucker
in a little
talks
while, I'll
to
be
Xi,
signing 4 new executive orders. First is that
if this motherfucker talks to Xi and develops a high-speed rail way plan, I'll eat a fucking MAGA hat. Dude, I'm right there with you.
Thank you for the support.
I will eat a MAGA hat myself as well.
Thank you very much for the support. You really did support him greatly. I think he's going to be a fantastic.
You missed that birthright was meant for only for the children of slaves. I mean, he's not wrong technically.
Begin the construction of a state-of-the-art Iron Dome missile defense shield, which will be able to protect Americans.
There is
we protect other
that's
countries,
another.
but we don't protect.
I didn't
ourselves.
miss that, and also that's yet another instance of Donald Trump like saying something that isn't technically untrue. It's just like a classic Donald Trumpism right there. Say something that's like technically not untrue, but then people go, "What the fuck is he saying?" And also greatly misunderstand it, like to an inappropriate degree.
Transgender ideology, the hell out of our military. It's going to be gone.
Get it the hell out of our military.
In addition, we will stop our service members from being indoctrinated with radical left ideologies such as critical race theory. We're going to stop it. It's already been stopped. It's already been halted, totally halted. And finally, we will offer full reinstatement to any service member who was expelled from the armed forces due to the COVID vaccine mandate. And we will restore them to their former rank with full pay. And I think we're going to have a lot of people that join. And one thing I'll say, if you looked at our recruitment over the last week or so, 2 weeks, it's through the roof. We were having a lot of people weren't signing. We were having a hard time recruiting people because they were looking at these people that they were supposed to be their leaders. And they weren't happy. They didn't like people that fall going upstairs. If you're going to fall, at least go downstairs from the plane. That triple fall. I used that thing in more ads. I didn't have an ad where I didn't put that in. Just a little quick 1, 2, 3. Reminded me of Joe Frazier when he went down, right? George Foreman, Joe Frazier. 3 falls in a matter of seconds. I said, can you speed it up a little bit? People are getting tired of it. But no, we have now the best recruitment we've seen in a long time. There's a tremendous number of people wanting to sign up. January 20th, 2025 was a turning point in American history. Starting last week, we're ending years of incompetence, radicalism, and betrayal. And we're ushering in the most exhilarating era of reform and renewal in the 250-year history of our country. And just in conclusion, I just want to say that this has been a very exciting and will be a very exciting new chapter. There's nothing we cannot achieve as long as the Republican Party remains united. I hope you can remain united. And it's one thing I give the Democrats a lot of credit for because, you know, they have lousy policy. I think, frankly, half of them are totally crazy. But they do stick together. They stick together on stuff that nobody can. I mean, how can you want prisons emptied out into our country? They stick together. They stick together on everything. Impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2. They stick together. Although I must tell you, you gave me great support during those 2 problems, those 2 fake witch hunts, which have now turned out to be totally fake and disgusting. But you gave me tremendous support. But the Republican Party has to stick together. We just can't have people going, you know, 1, 2, 3 votes. And we don't have that luxury.
I think this lie is ultimately an even bigger lie. Saying that the Democratic Party sticks together is, in my opinion, a graver lie, a far larger lie than saying that they're socialist, okay? They do not stick together at all. What the hell? I wish the Democratic Party operated in the way that the Republicans imagine them. You know what I mean? It's so frustrating.
Everything is so hard. We always have 2 or 3 or 5 or something people that just don't want to do it. And you just got to do it.
You got one naysayer on his way out knowing full well. You got one naysayer on his way out knowing full well that it wasn't going to undermine your agenda, making a symbolic move against Pete Hegseth, and you're over here complaining that you couldn't win enough support within the Republican Party.
So many times, and like even with Mike, I called 3 or 4 people, and they said, "Okay, sir, I'll do it. I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote positively," and they're very happy they did now. But when I called, we've gotten such a great response. We just had that happen.
The Democratic Party has a coalition of consistent spoilers that literally sometimes change party loyalty, or oftentimes will change party loyalty all but in name. John Fetterman.
Can unify more than anybody would ever know. And a victory is sweeter, as they say, because of it. And I think we're going to have a lot of victories, but we have to stick together. We have to work together. We have to fight together. And we're going to win together. We're going to win like never before. We have a chance to win like never before. As long as we stay united, the 119th Congress will be remembered as the most successful and accomplished Republican majority in American history. I believe that. I think we have a chance of doing it.
Hassan, you're the only one still listening to the Drooly Boy. The Drooly Boy
and
is
in
your
January 2027, we will have a larger Republican House, a larger Republican Senate, and our country will be richer, safer, stronger, prouder, greater, freer, and ever before. I really think that we're going to have some big victories coming up, and I'm going to be helping every single one of you. I'm raising a lot of money, and I want to use it for the House, and I want to use it for the Senate. I've raised a lot of money, and, you know, I told my people, we raised $1.7 billion. They raised $2.6 billion. They have the unions with, you know, checkoffs, which is always tough, $10 a month times millions and millions of people. And then we won, and we won by a lot. And they wanted to go out, and they still haven't raised it. They're trying to raise $28 million. They cannot raise 10 cents. It's good to win, I will tell you. It's really good to win, but they can't raise money. But I told my people the morning after. Now, normally, because we have so many donors here and so many people that I love and respect, a lot of great friends of mine, but I told my people, Meredith and Susie, and by the way, how good is Susie? The Ice Maiden. Where is the Ice Maiden?
The Ice Maiden.
She is so great. She is so good. Stand up, Susie. The Ice Maiden.
That's crazy. Why does he sound weird and sleepy? He's an EP boy, bro. Chill.
Wow, look at that. Most powerful woman in the world, they say. Most powerful woman in the world. She's made of ice. She's great. No, you know, when I came to Florida, Florida was a Democrat state, had a Democrat governor. They had one Democrat senator. It was largely a Democrat state. And
Are we gonna
through
have to wake up Will
various
manually?
reasons, I ended up with Susie running the campaign, and she was
I'm losing
unbelievable.
it.
We won it
Fuck.
in a landslide. And then the second time, we won it in an even bigger landslide. And
Yeah,
when it
thank God
came
I
time
looked
to
it up.
choosing somebody to run the campaign, the whole campaign, I said, what about Susie from Florida? She never lost. I won every primary. I won every. I didn't lose anything. And it was a Democrat state. And it was a landslide both times. And all of the Republican
wanna plug
stuff
the
was
camera
almost
in?
like it didn't even exist. It
Do
was
you have
amazing.
Will's
I
card?
said, what about Susie?
Or no?
Well, sir, you know, a woman has never been in this position before. I said, really? Oh, by the way, we have Kellyanne Conway. She didn't do too badly either, right? She did a great job, 2016.
What?
And when it came time to
No,
chief
he'll
of
be
staff,
ready.
do you know that there has never been a woman chief of staff? But there is now. There is now, right? I didn't know that. I'm so surprised. I'm very surprised. But it came time to running the campaign, and I said, well, I've never had a loss with Susie. She comes from great stock, you know. Pat Summerall is her father. Pat Summerall was a football player, great football player, but a really great announcer, really the voice of the NFL for 27 years or something. He was great, and a leader. He worked with John Madden, and he was able to get John Madden to do things that nobody else could do. They'd say, Pat, John is really difficult. Now, you know, John was a difficult guy, but he got big ratings and he was good. And Pat would go up, come on, John, let's get this done. Come on. I know you don't like the heads of the company. Just that's it. They're paying you a lot of money. Come on, John, let's get it done. And he'd go and do it. And this went on for, 27 years, right? But he was a leader, her father. And, you know, this is somebody that has the gene. I'll tell you, she's great. And she's done a fantastic job. So she was so good with the campaign. I said, let's let her do the campaign. And it was flawless. And again, I said before, we had her win a lot of votes because it's crooked as hell. And I hope you can go to voter ID and same-day voting and paper ballots and all of those things.
I'll give you a deal there in a
ultimately
second.
we'll
Hold
never
on.
lose a race if you do that.
Yeah,
I'm telling
okay.
you,
I was
never lose
right.
a race.
Will was
I
not
hope you can get
responding.
that, and that said to the governor,
Will was not responding to my text messages, and I thought he's probably still sleeping because he thought we were going to a place that's like relatively close. It turns out that we're going to a place that's not relatively close, chat. We're going to a place that's like an hour away. So I had to, I've been calling Will. He didn't pick up his phone. So I had to call Caroline, and he's up now. He said he's going to be ready in 10 minutes, but we're going to be moving. We're going to be mobilizing in 10 minutes.
But it was pretty amazing. Oh, the camera just went off. It's always tough. Usually you get them by surprise. But I just want to thank everybody. We're going to make this tremendously successful. We're going to have, I believe we're going to have one of the greatest 4 years in the history of our country. We're going to turn it around quickly, and then we're going to go on and we're going to progress like nobody ever thought possible. And I want to thank these great 4 people because they really are leaders and they're phenomenal people. And I want to thank all of my friends in the audience, many of whom are congressmen and congresswomen and people that have just tremendous talent. Every single one of you, I know every one of you, and you have tremendous
We're
talent.
going to a samurai sword training facility where we're going to learn the art of Bushido, the art of a sword play.
Their policy is so bad. Nobody could win with this policy. Nobody. And we have the best policy. And again, as they say, and we say, and I've been saying for a long time, we're the party of common sense. And we're the party that's going to have the best 4 years ever. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah. That's it, baby. Hit the double dick suck. Hit the double dick suck. Are you gonna try Kendo? Done it 4 years. Highly recommend. Oh, he did. He did that. He hit the double dick suck at the Congressional Institute addressing the House GOP in Doral, Florida. By the way, respect. Not to be too insistent, but will you use my meme? Yes, I will. Anyway, short and sweet of it is, we are cooked, extremely cooked. We figured out that Republicans are already running defense for prices increasing as a direct consequence of the tariff wars that Donald Trump is implementing for political purposes and for nothing else. Check logs, please. Tom Homan went on an ICE raid last night, and you'll never guess who he took with him as a special guest.
Where are you from?
Where I was born or where I'm from?
Where are you born?
Thailand.
You been deported before from the United States?
No.
Never.
Let me guess. This is Dr. Phil. Did Dr. Phil do a ride along? It's the least surprising thing if it's Dr.
Been
Phil.
deported.
Is that Dr. Phil who's speaking?
Yeah. What have you been charged
Oh my God. Yes, it is. You bald fuck.
with
I swear.
before?
I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna talk to my lawyer.
Yeah. Are you a citizen?
My mom's a citizen.
Your mother's a citizen,
Yes.
but you're not?
Nope.
But you've never been deported before?
You Dr. Phil. You look like Dr.
Wait, Dr. Phil.
Phil.
Yeah? How do you know me?
No, I seen Dr. Phil, on TV.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is an example of sanctuary cities, right? We got an illegal alien.
Tom Homan, you fucking animal. Chat, notice which faces are blurred? Yeah, of course. They're blurring the face of the Gestapo. That should give you an indication of what they're planning to do and how violent, how severe it will look like. And that is precisely the reason why they're taking the initiative to... Wait, can you put this in the bag too? Just... it's a iPhone cable just for safety. If that somehow fails, I will flip it over to the iPhone stream if necessary. I'm trying to do failsafe on failsafe here. How long is the Samurai stream going to be, by the way? Do you know? Okay. So, Hasanabi, are you coming back to America? And if so, why? No, I'm staying here. Fuck it. What the speaker said before Trump's AI comments, Speaker Johnson earlier said, China, for example, is a terrible trading partner. They abuse the system. They steal our intellectual property. Classic. They're now trying to get a leg up on us on AI, as you've seen in the last day or so. It is a serious threat to us and to our economy and our security in every way. And so the president takes that seriously. And I think that he will deal with that in an appropriate manner. Can you adopt me, please? I'm going to come back to America, okay? I love this stinking nation, okay? I do. It's always China stealing, never American. Yeah, the irony of China is stealing our intellectual property narratives is something that I've discussed earlier today even, okay? Which is that it is an assertion that is ahistorical and doesn't really pass the smell test at all. Because it's not like these mega corporations are oblivious to the ways of the, Chinese manufacturing. They are fully aware of it, and they've been, quote unquote, stealing our IP for the past multiple decades. So how come they still manufacture in China is the question that people must ask themselves. A lot of people complain about the IP being stolen from China, and yet never ask why the American corporations have not shied away from consistently utilizing Chinese manufacturing, regardless of this supposed quote-unquote IP theft. Perhaps it is because the IP theft is not theft at all, but simply something that the American corporations completely understood was going to happen. It was a unspoken agreement. Okay, that's it.
Convicted of sex crimes involving children, and he's walking the streets of Chicago. Again, the downfall, the problem with the sanctuary city, that people like us walking the street rather than local law enforcement working with federal agents. This is what we're dealing with. Yeah. You've been charged with sex crimes with children?
Not really.
He said,
not really? And never been deported?
Nope.
Huh. Let's take them in, process them, lock them up.
Got it, sir.
Merit TV. A lot of merit in Dr. Phil right here doing this thing. So much merit. All right. Lock this criminal scumbag up, please. Fetterman is denying the Republican pivot accusation. Okay, that's nice. Senator John Fetterman says it's not true his views have shifted, as some critics on the left claim. His views have shifted. We know. Your immediate life exposes this truth. You are now on board with some of the most draconian, most restrictive, and, dare I say, unconstitutional rules in regards to handling undocumented migrants, when your wife was literally an undocumented migrant, which you personally wrote about and used as a marketing tool on your campaign. It's not strategy. It's pure brain damage, chatters. Come on. I 100% believe the stroke made John Fetterman conservative theory. It's not even a theory. It's just reality. It's something that he's also admitted as well. It's something that he has readily admitted himself. It's not like we have to further speculate on the matter. He volunteered this information. Yeah, here it is. I'm not a progressive. Fetterman breaks with the left, showing a maverick side. Senator John Fetterman has drawn fire from progressives over his fierce support for Israel and broken with immigration advocates with support for curtailing immigration. It'll never not be funny. It'll never not be funny to me that he stroked into conservatism, like openly. He stroked into it so hard. Okay. All right. Where is it? Okay. What's Will's status? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna directly text Caroline instead. You kept fighting for CEO revenge murder for the past month. People talking too much mushroom and decided to keep the borders open. It's over, Terrence Howard. Where's your Luigi world? WTF. Oh, he said he's coming now. You kept fighting for CEO revenge murder for the past month. CEO revenge murder? What part of society is genuinely collapsing where you have Barbaras and Debras that are openly fantasizing about murdering insurance executives, and the only solution towards this, the only solution towards fixing this problem is, okay, the only solution here is to basically rewrite the structures, rewrite the system so that there is literally, so that there is some semblance of equality in this process, and that healthcare is no longer privatized. Meant that I was fantasizing about CEO murder. Anyway, I'm
okay.
We'll continue this conversation over there. Okay.
We will?
No.
Oh.
Maybe. We'll see. We will.
I'm saving you guys. We're cooked, man. What else is there?
We're not cooked. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it on time.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about America. I'm talking about the world.
Damn, this guy's good.